What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Kind of Funny Gamescast pre-show. It's me, Joey.
It's me, Imran.
It's him.
It's me, Greg.
It's him, Greg. I like that cup style that you have. Not the trophy one, the other one.
My Andy Town coffee thing.
Yeah. It's
It
an
is pretty
interesting
cool.
shape.
Yeah.
Well, it's got a top that screws on then, so it's like a little thermos, you know?
Oh.
That's why I like it. That's why I use it. Oh, shape.
It's like
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like my cup and this cup and the cylinder was shady. Yeah, no, I love it because it's like a thermos. It's got the screw top and the pop top, so it doesn't spill. Because all my other reusable coffee mugs, they inevitably spill something.
Mm-hmm. What would make a cup shady, like legit shady?
I would think if for Cool Greg to say a cup shady, it'd be like it'd have like the SF police logo on it, FBI. Even though I heard on Internet Explorers you're gonna become a police officer. That's what the
Let's not get too crazy in here. Yeah.
this is quite a crew we got on screen right now.
I
like
know,
it.
right? Digging your shirt today. I saw the poll go up, and I'm glad that the one that I voted for won.
Yeah, I put the poll up at like
Yep.
midnight, and I'm like, okay, this will get like a 30 votes in the morning. That should decide it. Wake up, it's 1,500. And like
People are really passionate about.
people were very
Waluigi.
passionate, and like Barrett, I know, chimed in that he was very disappointed in the results.
He's a clown.
Was the other one My Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever, Greg. You liked My Hero Academia for 2 episodes. And
I
then-
watched the third with Jen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, months ago, weeks ago. I don't even know. Barrett, if I wanted you to show something, do I send it to you,
You send it to Cool Greg.
Cool Greg? Because now that Cool Greg's here,
Uh-oh.
we have something to show Cool Greg.
Oh man.
This is exciting.
Can you show that you chat to when you get it open?
Yeah.
I got this Slack from my wife this morning. This game is for baby Cool Greg. So you might have aged out of it now, even though you can never be sure. But Jen was very clear that this Devolver game, Flea Punk, looks like it would be yours.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah? So those are the kids.
I'm
Just show them Twitter. Just show them Twitter. What do you care? You already ruined it for Cool Greg.
What the fuck? Things
You're
are
doing a
messed
great.
up.
You're doing a great job.
I'm trying to figure out
No, I know.
everything.
Everything's
All right.
exploded over there. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Fucking give me a second.
I'm going to give you all the seconds. We have a whole lot of pre-show to fill. If anybody's wondering, Fran is on his way. He's
thank God.
He's about 15 minutes late because he was updating his phone to iOS 13,
God
and then
damn it,
took
Fran.
too long, and he couldn't order an Uber because the phone was updating.
Fucking Fran, dude.
Here we go. Flea Punk. A Devolver digital jam. Run around. Looks like you're doing some painting.
Mm-hmm.
Little snowboarding.
It looks very cute.
Yeah.
Video compression is doing this game zero.
Yeah, I know, right?
I
Yeah, it's
know.
just a Jackson Pollock of like color. Can't tell what this is. Now, Cool Greg, would you play this as an adult?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I like easy games, man. I'll let you guys play with the PS4s and all that shit.
Painty Mob.
Oh, it's Paint Mob. Yeah, it's Painting Mob by Flea Punk. I see. Interesting. Well, there you go. Cool Greg, seal of approval.
So we were talking about shady cups earlier.
Yeah.
Man, and I noticed my man right here, he has the Dementor on the cup, and at the bottom it's even a warning right here that says, watch your fingers. If your cup has to warn you while you're drinking it to watch out for your fingers, it's a shady cup right there.
Yeah,
pretty
that's not
cool.
a great cup.
Why does it say watch for your fingers? What's
I guess the Dementor is going to come and get him. I
Is
never
that-
understood
yeah?
it.
Is that a thing from the books? The Dementors eat your fingers?
No.
They just eat your fingers. Bear, can I get your section of comparing the movies to the books?
Fucking the movies are bullshit. Books are great.
Okay, perfect.
Because of me, the IGN Slack today had to be renamed Please Don't Respect Harry Potter or Disrespect Harry Potter. Yeah.
Was Jonathan Dornbush in that chat?
Yes. He changed the name.
Good.
Of course he did.
Good. I'm proud of him.
Because I happened to say that I thought that what my thoughts of what the houses were based on 2 movies and cultural osmosis. And I was like, Hufflepuff likes food, I guess, and Slytherins are the villains from
Do
Naruto.
they?
That was what I was told.
It's hella
I don't
random, so,
remember
like,
that
I feel like
association.
Like
Hufflepuffs everything.
they're near the kitchen, so they like food.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Okay.
Some book shit.
Yeah.
Cool, Greg. Can you like talk into the mic?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Talking into the mic, sending shots.
Just checking.
Okay, oh, hell yeah.
Thank you, Cool Greg.
While we do this, I'm going to read from a press release I just got. Pornhub Insights. Searches for Borderlands 3 skyrocket 12,905%. Lilith, most searched character. Hi, hope all is well. I wanted to reach out and pass along brand new insights post courtesy of Pornhub, taking a closer look at Borderlands 3 searches. According to the data report, growing anticipation for the release of Borderlands 3 caused searches on Pornhub to increase an incredible 12,905%. You like that? Making it 5 times bigger than Fortnite and 3 times bigger than Overwatch. Among the most searched terms were Borderlands 3, followed by Borderlands Moxie. Other
I don't
popular
like this next sentence at all.
Other popular characters related searches included Lilith, Tiny, which I think they mean Tiny Tina.
I'm gonna assume they don't. Just like for my own personal
Yeah,
mental well-being.
like state of mind.
Yeah. Maya Engage. Search demographics show that men are 84% more likely to search Borderlands than women, and visitors aged 18 to 24 are 119 more likely to search for Borderlands than other groups.
Lord.
Christ.
They have a stats page here, which I got too.
Time to go home and just call it a fucking day. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go home and maybe play more Borderlands.
Yes, exactly. This got me in the mood.
I feel like it hadn't gotten its
God.
hooks in me until we started playing the other night, and then it was like 3 o'clock this morning. I was like, oh, I
Last
should go
night
to
was
bed.
fun, Joey.
It was super fun.
That was a good
Took
session.
me a real long time to figure out the like running slide jump mechanic.
I was playing with them for like an hour, I would say, without my mic. Because we had a guest over. We were just hanging out, and I didn't
Sure.
want to be rude and like just talking in my game. So there was like this point where you had to kind of do a long jump to make it over to this area, and without having a mic to explain how to do it, I was just trying to physically like show them how to do it, and like I was impressed. Kevin got it. Kevin got it at one point.
Wow.
I was fucking proud of him, and I even texted him. I was like, hey, I'm fucking proud of you, dude. And then Joey, even after I got like on the mics a couple hours later, and we're just like, we needed her to get this long jump to like continue a main mission, and we were there for like 10 fucking minutes.
Yeah, and then eventually I just threw myself off the cliff, and then I spawned next to them on the other side, and it was perfect.
So speaking of that slide, you know at the tutorial of the game, Claptrap teaches you how to slide. He's like, you just run at this thing and like press Neil to get in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. For some reason, towards the end of Pandora, where like you go to that big dramatic thing with like Lilith and all that
Yeah.
stuff, the tutorial like voiceover just kept repeating
Oh my
for
gosh.
no apparent
no.
reason. So for like, I want to say 20 minutes, it was just Claptrap just repeating over and over how to slide. in, like,
Are
the
you
3 different
sure
voice
you
claps.
don't know how to slide?
So
yet?
we were just sliding. Like, does this break it if we do it? Like, well, let's stop doing that. And
No,
around
sure
like
doesn't.
around like 20 minutes, it's just like but my friends and I started thinking it's like this absurdist, hilarious thing.
Yeah.
That every time the voice clip started playing, we started laughing harder and harder. And like then we did the actual like the big battle arena mission around the little stuff. And once that was it, because he doesn't do it during battles.
Oh,
so
weird.
The mission stopped. All of us had forgotten about it. It just pops up like, if you do this, you still slide. Like just a long, sustained minute of laughter from all of us.
Oh my gosh.
Over
so
Discord.
good.
Yeah, my entire play session last night, there was like this weird, like, kind of out of frame. Like, you know how like the game will give you updates on like friends and people nearby of like what they're doing.
Yeah,
There
you
was
turn
this
that
weird
stuff off
one
right away.
that like was out of frame. It looked like kind of like when the image like pops in, it looks like it like got stuck halfway through, and it was just there the entire time we were playing last night.
Did you not just restart your game?
I went to like the menu at one point because like the game kicks me out, and I figured once I loaded back in, it would be gone. No, still there. It wasn't like distracting, but it was just one of those things I would look over like every like 20 minutes and be like, why? Why is it still there?
Interesting. But yeah, so now all I want to do is play more Borderlands.
Yeah, it's a really good game that like. So I played with the same group of friends I played Borderlands 2 with
Oh, fun.
7 years ago, and it is incredibly difficult as working adults
Oh, yeah, 100%.
to arrange that stuff. Because like the first weekend, we were like, okay, do we have time now? No, well, I have time around then. No, I'm going to be out doing something else. And, like 4 people, 3 of us are in one time zone. Someone's in Eastern time zone,
geez, yeah.
which makes it way more difficult.
Yeah.
So like tonight, I'm like, okay, why don't we play sometime around 9? And someone's like, I live in Florida. Like,
That's
yeah,
midnight.
yeah, you at 9 is not a reasonable situation for me. So we're still trying to figure that out. But multiplayer games as adult, not super easy.
I know. Even this weekend, it was like, okay, well, I can play from 10 to 1, and someone else can play from like 1 to 4. And like, I was free Monday and Wednesday, and he was free Tuesday and Thursday. I was like, this is dumb.
What
For
we
me
need
too,
is-
it's the annoyance of Jen and I are playing together, which is great, right? We beat it last night, but then it's the idea that cool, somebody else is on. Oh, do we want to invite them? And then it's like, well, only I'll be able to hear them and talk to them in the mic, but I know Jen's gonna want to talk to them. We can put on PlayStation 9, that'll pick up the TV and be it's like fuck, you know what I mean? We just need ambient mic in there.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
First world problems.
At this point, I just use Discord for like all voice chat stuff.
Okay. How would you? So I guess we just have the laptop open.
Laptop
Yeah.
open
You
or
put
a
it on your
phone.
phone.
Yeah.
But usually Lauren and I do
Like
stuff.
when I was playing Gears with a friend, we tried to figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I have my headset in, but it's not talking to you, so I don't
Yeah.
know why it's not working. It's
I
like,
hate that shit.
fuck it, let's just go to Discord.
Yeah.
Well, but then you have to do the thing of I have one earbud in plugged into my phone for Discord, and then I have my headset on so I can hear the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really want to juggle two different things because
Yeah.
there's no way to get game audio through Discord.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to trust that people don't hear the echo, and hopefully they don't.
Yeah.
But
Stressful.
yeah,
Also annoying that I can't play with my friends that are playing on PC.
that is also quite dumb. Especially when Modern Warfare is getting it like everyone can just do whatever they want. Who cares?
Yeah.
I wonder if the Borderlands show will ask about this.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
But yeah,
Good
no.
tease.
Crossplay. That's
No
what it's all about now.
I know.
I was doing your first kind of funny gauntlet. I've done the this is the first time I've done.
You spent a whole day here.
Oh, you're right. Now the Game Informer day was I did 2 shows.
Right.
Yeah, you do 2 shows, but between them you go out to lunch. And like today was fine because I just went out and talked to anybody. I had tea, whatever. But last time it was this, then like 2 hours talking to people because you want to keep them entertained. You want to be a good host.
Of course.
And all that. And then coming back and doing another like hour and a half show.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's a lot.
That was like, I think, why my wheels fell off so hard in the first part of this week because it was all the shows and then it was guests on top of that. So
Yeah.
2 days of guests. So you're just on from like 9 on.
Yeah.
It's a good thing next week's gonna be super easy.
For me.
No
I mean,
travel, no millions of guests coming in.
whatever. We got next week's cakewalk. Because you know what happens? Blessing comes through and I'm like, you take care of it. You're in charge,
You
kid.
have-
All right.
We
you
have
do
so
this.
many guests next week.
We haven't talked about a lot of them.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
allowed to?
Sure. I mean, a subject to change of all time. Subject to change.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sasha Banks is coming in to get interviewed by the one and only Cool Greg on We Have Cool Friends. That's
Just
going to be a
wild.
scene.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I sent off the questions
From
today.
every angle. 1, will she actually come here?
Yeah.
2, will Cool Greg actually do the interview? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be had, Greg Miller.
There are a lot of questions.
There are a lot of
A
questions.
lot.
Yeah.
Then what? Xavier Woods is coming through to
We have
do
Xavier
with
Woods.
Blessing.
We have
Then you guys are recording another episode of We Have Cool Friends
Yes.
with
on
someone.
Monday.
Is it Jack? Is it Jack
Yeah.
Buser?
Buser, yeah.
Jack Buser in here to talk about Stadia with me.
Yeah. Then we have Agent M.
H&M at the end of the week. You're at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
And
week.
you're
Crazy ass
gone.
week, man.
Tuesday, I go to LA for
Xavier's
Last of
here.
Us. Yeah, Monday night is Raw.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Blessing dinner on Wednesday. Oh yeah,
And
then
then-
I'm doing the Marvel thing on Thursday night. There's a lot going on.
It's crazy ass week, dude.
But the week after that, that's when it really
Then we
gets
have
easy.
Hair here on Thursday too.
I need to
Oh,
double
that's
check. I'm gonna
right.
I want to
Dean
follow up with him
Staley.
real quick.
Then we have Alex Mannequin here on Friday. I don't think that's
Is that official?
Yeah. I don't think
I don't want to pay attention to when I'm on.
If
like,
it
I don't
ain't
think any of
Imran
those are
Day, I
names.
don't care.
That shirt is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
I was trying to decide between like this and like a nicer Kirby shirt of like Kirby on the beach. I'm like, no, I got to get the Waluigi side.
Hell yeah, man. Got to give him some moments to shine. Let's see. Where
Is there an embargo in this episode?
No.
Okay.
Nothing's
no embargo, man. What a week. What a time to be alive.
Kidding me? Excuse me, I'm going back to Grindstone.
Grind it up, dude. I'm very excited. I had so many questions earlier to ask you
I'm
about
glad
this.
you didn't do it.
And I was like, no, I got to save it for the show because I don't know what the hell this game is. And more importantly, I don't know who does the soundtrack, but I want you to find out.
I'm on it.
I tried Googling it, but Grindstone is
Brand new.
a generic ass name.
Luckily,
For
I know
Google.
somebody on the PR team.
Yeah, because it sounds very familiar, and I'd be interested if
you know.
I know somebody
Yeah.
because their style sounds similar. I don't know who it is.
somebody that you used to know.
Somebody that I used to know.
Oh,
Who was that by?
Joey. Gautier.
Man,
Put
did
some respect
Gautier-
on the name.
Did Gautier
Put
do
some
the
fucking
soundtrack?
Gautier or Gautier? Gautier.
There was some respect on the
Well,
name.
if you've ever
That
heard
I
me
don't
pronounce
know.
a name, I don't know.
Gautier.
I thought it was Gautier, but
Drew Baca says, "Will there be a State of Play watch along?" Oh yeah, that's
Oh
also
yeah,
happening.
me and Blessing, baby, we're doing it. Very
That'll be
exciting.
what a bunch of jerks.
Tuesday afternoon.
Hey, you want to come down and play Last of Us Part 2? Yeah, you know what? I would like to do that. Cool, we're going to do a state of play during it. What? What?
The state of play is just gonna be like filming you guys watching The Last of Us.
I was
trailer.
pretty interested about that though because when they announced the Last of Us 2 media thing, everything about it was weird because preview events happen all the time. But usually we'll get requests, we'll get PR emails, but they'll say don't talk about it or talk about it. It's usually instructions. This one didn't have a yes or no,
Yeah.
but Jeff Keighley tweeted out the
Yeah.
image, which made it seem like it was more of a front-facing thing, like a community-focused thing.
Like you could watch it or whatever.
Yeah.
online.
Well, yeah, that was the question in my mind. Is like, was Jeff Keighley allowed to tweet that out, or did he just assume?
Did he just do
Just
it?
Jeff
Yeah.
fucking Keighley. You know?
Yeah.
That is
God
true.
bless him.
I would assume Jeff Keighley talked to someone at Sony, but
Me
he's
too.
also like an excitable guy. He,
I
like,
bet Jeff would.
Yeah, I
Hit
bet
up
he cleared it.
Jen
I just
Clark
think it
or
was
whatever.
weird that they would clear that, knowing PlayStation.
When we got the confirmation of like, all right, here's your date, time, and where you're going, there's also a note in there of like, you're allowed to say you're going and share that image now. I made
Cool.
a joke about it on Games Daily of like, well, that's helpful 2 weeks later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Luckily, I think I beat everybody to post with these Pornhub Borderlands 3 statistics. So
Fantastic.
I would take the wins where I can get them, guys.
There was one event I went to where it was mandatory or compulsory, I should say, to tweet that I was going to this thing. And I'm like, no,
No, you
I'm
can't
not going to
force
do
me
that.
to
Yeah,
fucking tweet.
they're
It
like,
makes you want to tweet about it. Not at all.
yeah, it's like, oh, you're coming here under an influencer, not under a media badge, so we have to give you different rules. I'm like,
that's
no.
still not a
Yeah,
rule,
I'm not going to do
What,
that.
are you going to the Last
the
of Us
Last
thing?
of Us thing,
Oh, okay. Yeah, but then once they announce the state of play, it's like, okay, cool. So we are getting a release date, right?
Yeah,
We
right.
can't
That's
not,
it.
man. We can't not.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking excited. Well, what do you think, Tim? What are you thinking? Date wise, May,
I think February.
February. Oh,
I'm going Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Some rumor at some point said that, and
Yeah.
I buy it.
I imagine like a lot
Valentine's
of
Day
the.
week. I don't know what day
Yeah,
Valentine's Day is.
It might not be the day after when it's that bachelor event.
You're right.
There's also like a
I don't know
movie
what
coming
I would
out
do.
on Valentine's Day. I think.
The sirens are on our end.
That's
Rude
hard to say.
sirens.
I have learned. This is one of the things that I've learned the most working at Kind of Funny. Saying the sirens are on our end,
Very hard.
fucking hard as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I've just gone to sirens are from us. 'Cause that's way
Yo,
easier.
siren over here.
Siren on.
Our end.
Yeah. On
February
hard.
14th is a Friday.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Reasonable.
Valentine's Day, dude.
I could see it because like I could see like thematic stuff in the game. They would want to like put it out.
I don't think
on,
they
like,
care about that.
Really?
They'll find a marketing way to make it seem like they care, but
I always
Neil
love that.
Druckmann is like, we're only putting this out of Valentine's Day.
I love
Scott
that.
Lowe's like, no, we have to put it out. No.
That was really good with Deadpool because like it was a Valentine's Day movie.
Yeah.
So all of the a lot of the ads were trying to make it seem like a romantic comedy starring
So
Ryan
great.
Reynolds.
And you know that somebody got baited into going and having no idea what it was.
Yeah.
a movie called Deadpool.
What was no? That was Deadpool 2. I was watching that. Like somebody brought their kids and I guess didn't realize what Deadpool was. And like I remember them like pulling the kid out and like the kid like freaking out like, no, I want to stay.
I can't think of any movie that I would want to watch more as a little kid. Like,
Than
how
Deadpool?
much of a badass would you feel if you were an 8-year-old and like Deadpool was on? You'd feel like you were watching something you're not supposed to be
Oh,
seeing.
100%.
And you'd be like, yeah, the other kids at school aren't cool enough to watch this. It's like when I watched South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. I was
No.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember getting going to see Terminator 2 in theaters
Mm.
because I was me and my friends were such Terminator fans.
Fuck,
That when
you're
Terminator
old.
2 came, I know that we were able to go. Yeah, well, can you give me what was it, 1990? Give me a search on that. if you don't mind.
Yeah, it might have been 90. I'll search
Anyways,
it up.
you look it up. But going, and it was my mom was gonna take me. And with all due respect to number one crane operator Greg Miller, my mom was the cool parent. Like she was like a more modern, like engaged with pop culture in the world.
1991.
1991. So yeah, I'm 8 years old there, maybe.
Wow.
And
Alyssa was born that year.
awesome. Maybe I was there.
What?
Mom got sick though, so dad had to take me, and I remember it being like so weird because at least mom knew like all about Terminator. Like,
Yeah.
me and my stupid little friends would never shut up about Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese.
I love it, man. We're doing Terminator in review. Gia's never seen him.
Wow.
And
Well,
I'm
she gets
hoping-
the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing
What are
of,
you gonna
like,
be? So
one,
does she
two,
know
and
anything
new
about
one.
it?
No.
You know, you get to do one of the great pop
I know.
culture experiments of all
I
time.
know,
Say it.
man.
It's exciting times.
If you're not aware, everybody, if it wasn't for first off us all being old now, but the marketing campaign for
Yeah,
Terminator
they
2,
ruined Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, if you watch it and think about it, or just watch it blind, and I'm about to spoil it if you've never seen it before. Gia, turn off this show. If you watch Terminator 2 blind, you don't know that Arnold Schwarzenegger's the good guy
Yeah.
until when you think he's about to kill John Connor,
he
he
says-
actually saves him.
Get down.
Get
God.
down. Fucking box full of
No,
roses.
dude,
I was
she's
part
gonna
of
fucking love it, man.
I
She
was
watched
part of that-
Matrix for the first time a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Super into it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
I was part of that experiment, Greg, because
Oh,
I
yeah?
was young enough. Like that stuff wasn't around when I was a kid, so I just watched Terminator 2 blind, and
Nice.
that was like one of the most like jaw dropping moments.
Yeah.
As like I think 5 years old, I watched those movies. So fucking cool.
Terminator's awesome. This new one's probably gonna be Garbo, but I can't wait.
It could be okay.
But they're pulling at the strings of like you're bringing back all the right people.
Sure. More than anything, I'm gonna be upset though because it turns out it's on Halloween.
I know.
We can't throw a Halloween party because it's a dumb movie.
Fucking lame.
We can do the day before. It can be the Terminator Halloween party where we all come as Terminator characters.
Oh my gosh.
I've not in my adult life ever done anything on Halloween.
That's stupid. You're coming over the day before Halloween.
Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve.
Wait, why is it Hallows Eve? What's Hallows?
The Deathly Hollows.
Yep.
Let's look it up.
Don't just say
That seems like a thing I should know,
So
but I don't
confident.
actually know. I'm sure Chad's going to
I
tell
feel
me.
like they explained this at the beginning of Hocus Pocus, but I can't remember what it is.
All I know from the beginning of Hocus Pocus is they said the word virgin. They taught me the word virgin. And
yeah.
it changed my life.
Can I tell you that last Halloween we had some of like my mom's boss's kids over, and they're like 4 and 6, and then we were like, "Oh, we'll introduce you to Hocus Pocus," and they kept asking us what virgin meant, and I was like, "Oh, this was a terrible idea. I probably should not have done that, but oh well."
They're like, why does Aunt Joey drink so much of that juice out of that bottle?
Oh, they spent a lot of time at my parents' house.
They know about the juice in the bottle. huh?
Joey
Yeah.
Juice.
All Hallows Eve falls on 31st October each year. It's the day before All Hallows Day, also known as All Saints Day in the Christian calendar. The church traditionally held a vigil on All Hallows Eve, and worshippers would prepare themselves with prayers and fasting prior to the feast day itself.
All right. I don't like anything about that. I especially don't like the. So what? We're just gonna like make the eve the holiday and just pretend that the day didn't do shit?
Yeah.
Now would it surprise you, Tim,
Oh God.
No.
that I think eventually they caved on this, but originally in my Catholic school, you weren't allowed to dress up in school for Halloween, but on November 1st, you dressed up as your favorite saint and came as your favorite saint for All Saints
Who's
Day.
your favorite saint?
Who was your favorite saint?
I mean, everybody picks Saint Francis of Assisi, right? Because
Obviously.
you can have all those stuffed
Right.
animals with you.
Top tier pick.
The only
No, he
person,
didn't. I feel like a lot of people St. Patrick because didn't he have all
the only other
snakes?
person, of course, Pat Polosic, Poe, picks St. Patrick every fucking time, coming in with his arms out and the giant
Did anyone
hat.
come in as Saint Nick?
Somebody must have.
If you had to
Yeah.
make a Saints fighting game,
Sure.
who would be the Ryu and Ken of that game?
Does Mother Teresa have sainthood yet? I haven't been keeping
dude,
up. I
Mother
haven't been
Teresa.
keeping up. I mean, she's
This
the
is the time.
Cammy. She's the
She's the
Cammy.
Where the fuck is Fran?
He's here.
Oh, he is? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Great.
Fantastic.
What would Jesus' role be in that game?
There's a
Announcer.
Would
there's
he
a
be the
fighting
man?
game with Jesus in it.
But would he be like the master hand?
Smite.
No,
dude.
let me look at the name. Like he was added as a DLC character. Like so, he comes in on the
Silence from
cross
us.
and like pulls his
Jesus
arms off, and the
Christ.
crosses are connected to it. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
That's
lot.
that's a bit much, yeah.
Tekken 7.
Tekken versus all the holy angels.
Seafron.
Fight of Gods is the name of the game.
Oh gosh.
Oh gods.
It's 40% off on Steam right now.
Oh hey,
Good to know.
Wow.
just in time for All Saints Day.
What a deal.
Apparently,
What a deal.
Seafron also had his Catholic or her Catholic school do that.
Oh yeah.
Ours let us just wear costumes. They didn't care.
We could wear
I'm
costumes.
trying to
but
remember
not
actually if
masks.
it ever did happen.
We did like a little parade around the.
Oh yeah. Well, we did that with the Saints.
For the photo ID day.
Nice.
Hmm.
Like
it's weird.
costumes?
He went to an
Anything.
arts high school.
Wild shit. Like
Yeah.
afros and whatever the hell you wanted.
Not this Justin Trudeau blackface though.
And brown
I don't
face.
know.
That's current news. That's
His eyes
current news
get
of
really
the Prime
wide,
Minister of
like,
Canada.
Yeah.
And brownface. All the faces of the rainbow.
Eras of Halloween so interesting. Like I wonder what's popping with the kids right now. Like
Minecraft.
what's the thing that
Fortnite.
everyone
Fortnite.
is?
Yeah.
You think they're all? But
Have you been to a
No,
Halloween
because
spirit
you
store?
went without us, and it was upsetting.
First off, I don't know where my wife was super mad at me. I'm sorry. I don't remember signing off on this agreement with everyone in my life that I could only go to Halloween spirit stores with other people.
oh, spirit.
Y'all
Yeah.
should have come to that lunch with me, but you didn't want to go out with Luke. Luke Smith from Destiny here. Nobody wants to go out with him. That's on you, not me. Yeah. Dude, I was there like day 2. It was
The Oracle one.
Hey,
I'm
speaking
sure
of-
that one's gonna be huge.
There's an Oracle one?
Yeah,
Like at the Oracle Arena?
It's a spirit
Hey, man.
now. Yeah.
Speaking of future Halloween spirit stores, did you know that GameStop on Market's closing?
I saw that last night from
What?
Janet Garcia of IGN. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That's huge.
so
That
nuts.
is the biggest GameStop in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that
Which
like
Which one?
The one on Market.
Oh yeah,
The
right
one with, like,
downtown.
the, yeah,
by
with the
mall.
basement thinking and all
With
that.
Iron Man in it. for some reason.
Yeah.
It had a basement.
I remember going
No
in
one ever
there
goes there.
Yeah.
and seeing Greg Miller on the TV and feeling like, oh my God, he's famous and my friend. It was
I was in there once and I was trying to get like a thing on a game, and like I was picking up like a Tony Hawk for a friend or something like that. And the guy, like, he was being kind of rude to me. Then, like, I was on the TV from the Game Informer show. And then he, like, looks up and then, like, looks back at me. He's like, I could take, like, $6 off. All right, fine. Whatever.
That's so funny.
I remember I had to pick something up for some IGN shoot, and it was like a weird, like, colorful cube or some shit. I forget what it was, Fran, but it was
GameStop?
yeah, and it was like I forget who the producer was on it, but they were like,
Oh, it was like an unboxing, probably.
no, it wasn't. It was just like I think it was like a sponsored video or something, and they wanted like themed like collectibles or whatever, and they
Interesting.
looked it up, and it was like available at this GameStop, and they had me go all the way over there in the middle of the day, and I went over, and they didn't fucking have it.
Man.
It's
fucking
not, it's
lame.
not that far. I mean, it's
It's-
literally like
it's-
10 blocks away, but you walk there, though?
Yeah, there's no like good bus route that like really takes you there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's like a solid 20-30 minute walk right
It was
there.
for work, man. They should have just paid for the Uber, you know what I'm saying?
Getting to IGN, not super easy.
You had a
from
bad
anywhere.
manager. It wasn't me.
Who was it?
It probably was.
Zach.
Going back to earlier,
Sure.
because I wanted to
Zach's
make
right.
my point
Sure, I'm sorry.
about me and Halloween.
Sorry, I wanted to speak about myself.
Well, I guess lack of me because we were poor, so I didn't get cool costumes. My mom had
Sure.
to make all my costumes,
Sure.
which meant that I went as a rainbow one year. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Love it.
Went as a rainbow. But
Yeah,
you're a
it's whole
rainbow
fucking
every
thing.
day, Tim.
Thank you, thank you.
Aww.
But all the other kids got to be fucking ninjas and stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? There were all a bunch of Spider-Men running around. But the thing about the 90s that I think is uniquely 90s is the amount of Mortal Kombat costumes.
Yeah.
It was like, it's just re-skinned like every single, it's
Like,
like,
were
oh,
they
it's
all, like,
Scorpion.
Scorpion?
Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Ryu. Oh, it's Reptile. I don't know who that color one is though, but like, you're there. Fine. Gotta love those kids, man.
My parents were the type to go like right before Halloween costumes would be cheapest right before Halloween, so we'd always go like the day
Like
before,
on
yeah.
Halloween,
It'd be
like,
like-
before you go trick or treating, you pop by. Like, what do you got left?
Yeah,
All the
here's a
leftovers, yeah.
bandana with an eye patch. You're gonna be a pirate this year.
You remember when I got suspended for going in Steve-O? They got mad at me for trying to staple my arm.
What?
I appreciate the commitment. I appreciate the commitment to the Steve-O
Yeah.
lifestyle.
It was my friend's auntie snitched on me.
Damn.
Were they afraid you're gonna get hurt?
There it is.
See, okay, that's actually kind of a good
Yeah.
friend, though.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good friend. You know what I mean? They looked out for you, cool Greg. You know what I mean?
Oh, Greg.
You know
nice
that we have to look out for you and do things you don't want all the time, too.
It's going to say nice shirt, man. You shave your balls?
He does not like it. He does not like it.
I
But
like
it
he's
wears
wearing
a
a
shirt,
shirt
though.
that says Manscaped.
Yeah.
I feel that context is important
You're-
for listeners.
Yeah. It's definitely not.
Hey, Greg, you shave your balls?
That's what the pre-show's about.
You
Oh
go to
my God.
manscaped.com
I saw
/
that.
kind of funny for a discount.
That clip was so good, dude.
God, that's so
Favorite
great.
clip of the week. He's like, nope. Out.
all right. We've been going long on this pre-show. But let's.
That was my
Yeah.
fault. I'm sorry, everybody.
So
I'm gonna blame Apple though. Legitimately, like it just started updating it about.
we'll
like
talk about that in a
120.
second
Did you shave?
because I want to.
Yeah, I did.
Your balls?
We gotta
Not a fan, huh?
We got to do a pickup.
Oh God, don't say that. If we do, I'll wear a fake beard.
We
for
go
no
get some
reason.
shoe polish.
It's real, everybody.
We're not going to do a post show on this one. Just letting you guys know because we went a little long on this. But now we're going to start the show.
But we love you.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 239 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller,
Hi, Tim.
Brian Mirabella, the third,
Hi, Tim.
FM3 _ on twitch.tv.
Thank you, buddy.
How's the streaming been going? What you been doing out lately?
Good. A lot of Borderlands, as
Yeah?
you can imagine. Are we talking about it on the show today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Border France.
A lot of
Border
friends.
Yeah.
This is the Franthem. This is. I'm
That's
all
different.
Border
Now we got
friends.
it. Now we got to
Friends.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Welcome to the border, friend.
And Imran Khan
Howdy.
joining the crew for the first time
Yeah.
I am.
this is
on the Kind of
first
Funny
official
Gamescast.
show?
This is the first official show in a post-Andrea world.
Have we told Andy to reanimate the intro?
No, God,
Oh no!
And just bear with us, guys. At some point, the intro's gonna change. We need to figure it out. Like it's just because it's a multi-man process.
Yeah.
The Gamescast intro. Andy needs to design the art, and then Nick's actually the one that animates.
Yeah.
He's got to be in Japan.
He's all up in
He's
Japan,
in
man.
Kyoto, you know,
Mhm.
just eating waffles or something.
Moshi, man.
You know?
You
Hey,
think-
Fran, I have a question.
Yeah.
As a Mirabella the third,
Yeah.
is
It's
there
my full last name.
is there pressure if you have a kid to like name them a fourth?
Only not from like the family or anything. So no, but for me, yeah, I feel like a natural pressure of like, why would you give up now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got to
Like,
keep
why
it
give
going.
up the bit?
Why give up
Yeah.
the bit?
I like the veg. Oh, because the intro. I
Yes.
was like, why are you thinking about like my fourth?
I think about my kids.
I got to gather data.
Andy, thanks for coming.
Like gathering data.
Thanks for coming. As you know, we like to do all the work. People are like, how does the sausage get made? We chew it up and spit it into the sausage, and they see it. You know.
Yeah.
So for you right now,
Yeah.
we're giving you the task. No deadline yet, but we need to get a drawing of Imran for the Gamescast intro.
What if we just not do that anymore?
That's what I was
I
getting
knew he
at.
was
Let's just
gonna say
wipe
that.
it off.
Yeah, yeah.
What if we just
I
have
no
a
offense to Imran. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
no.
Imran will be gone in 3 months and Fran will be gone, but he'll come back,
True.
but with a
Yeah.
different
But
haircut.
hear me out. Hear me out.
I'll be on.
You
Mixer
already
then.
have Jared Petty as Mario. Just trim it down on the sides, paint it green, draw the hair on, and you're all set.
You should 100% do that.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, the animated intro.
Yeah, in the Gamescast, like you can kind
I'm
of see in the
like
background on these
Samus.
guys. Yeah.
It's a lot
What
of
character would you want to be if Andy were to do it in all the free time that he has?
Luigi, there you go, done.
Mega Man.
Especially in Q4. Ooh.
We've had Mega Man before already.
Oh, who was it?
Colin was
Colin
Mega
was
Man.
Mega Man.
Oh, of course, of course.
Then
Mr. Tattoo.
I would have to think about it for a little bit because that would be my go-to answer.
Well,
Be the other Mega
you're on the
Man.
spot,
Right? This is a
man.
big
This is
commitment.
important.
The other
Maybe we reveal it at the end
Total,
of the
man.
show. We reveal it at the end
I
of
know
the
there's
show.
others.
Yeah, you can think about it. At any moment in this show,
If it
feel
comes
free to blurt it out.
Zero.
All right?
Out of context in the middle of a
or
comment.
Imran, don't.
This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast each and every week right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We get together, talk about video games, all the things that we love about them. You can get the show early by going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like Tom Bach and James Hastings
Tom
did.
Bach.
Our Patreon producers for the month. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate you. You can also get the show ad early if you're on Patreon. You get ad free and early, including the
a new
pre
marketing
and
phrase.
post
You get it
shows.
ad early.
Ad early, baby. Or you can just watch it for free on Monday. It's youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Tuesday.com. You can listen on your favorite podcast service. Just search for Kinda Funny Games Cast. Today, I want to talk about The Legend of Zelda, Fran.
Yeah.
Link's Awakening, baby. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
that is-
damn
I want to know.
good.
They only sent the one code.
They
Yeah.
did only
Tell
send
me
one
all about
code.
it.
They sent only one code. I am a little over halfway through the game now.
Okay.
So
Have you found Zelda?
pretty
yet?
deep in there. No.
Has Link woken up?
Spoilers.
Oh, it's the first thing he does.
So this game is very interesting to me because it is $60 for a remake of a Game Boy game that has already been remade before. So Nintendo, in recent times, I would say, has a kind of pattern of releasing Wii U games with minimal updates and selling it for full price, if not more than the cost of the Wii U titles. And
So you're talking about, you meant Switch. You said Wii U, I think.
No, that's what I mean.
Even
Then
Wii U
taking
get like we
Wii
talked
U
about
to
Tropical
Switch.
Freeze.
Yeah.
they're porting
So-
the Wii U games to Switch, is what I meant.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Like Tropical Freeze.
Tropical Freeze
50,
or
60.
Captain Toad or,
Yeah.
any other number
Yeah,
of
yeah.
examples.
How is that
Inserted
relevant
in.
here?
Just
you're
in
getting
this,
to it.
well, so because going back in the day, looking at Link's Awakening on Game Boy to Link's Awakening Deluxe on Game Boy Color,
Yeah.
that was one of the earliest examples of Nintendo kind of doing this,
Right.
re-releasing a game with minimal update.
Yeah, that was minimal. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, this is not that.
There it is.
This is obviously full remake from the ground up.
Yeah, overhaul.
Beautiful overhaul, but it's still the exact same game. And that's where I feel there's a weird kind of
Moment to moment, really? Like,
dissonance of it. It's the exact same game.
really? I didn't quite realize
And
that.
that works in a lot of ways and enhances this game and makes it better than it used to be. It also kind of points out the differences that you might not think about of just level design, game design, map design when you go from 4:3 to widescreen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I had this, it's not an issue, just observation playing Pokemon Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu last year, where it's like weird to be playing these maps and walking around towns that were designed to be consumed essentially as a square.
Yeah.
That's all they were looking at.
But when you look at a widescreen, it makes everything feel a little bit more empty. It makes things kind of just, it doesn't feel like it was
You can
designed
tell.
for the
Oh,
system.
interesting.
Link's Awakening doesn't have that problem.
Oh.
There we go. You gotta love Link's the best, but still, gotta love when it matches up.
Yeah.
And also Skyward Sword. There you go.
If you're watching
yeah.
the show, the game we're talking about appeared in a rotation on the back screen graphics.
You gotta love it. But
like
Link's
the
Awakening is different. In old school top-down Zelda games, right? Work on a kind of grid thing of like you walk up to the screen and it goes, and then you see it screen to screen. You kind of like
Tiles.
start getting the map exposed as you go, like the fog of war or whatever. As you go from screen to screen, it'll open up. Because of the way that this game is designed, and because it's modern, it's Switch, and because of the art style, you don't have that. So you're just constantly walking around the world. Right. So it makes the entire map feel very small as you're going from one end to the other of.
Yeah, you never get to the edge of that tile, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like
Yeah,
there's never you're
That's
kind of like
interesting.
it all starts blending as you're walking through, which just makes it all feel smaller. But because of the beautiful art design of that they decided to go with the remake here, everything feels well produced and designed where it's like everything's interesting, and where the forest ends compared to where the mountain starts and stuff, you see the kind of world change. So all of a sudden the world feels big again. So it's like I feel like the remake did a really good job of choosing an art style that makes the game still look and feel like a modern game, even though it was taking a square, small Game Boy game and turning it into this bigger adventure, right? I love the art style, and I think that it enhances and makes the original game better because it allows you to fill in the blanks of what you thought things looked like when you were originally playing. Like there's one like set of stuff that you need the running ability to be the Pegasus boots to be able to run through, and like what I thought was like smashing through crystals. You're actually like popping like a balloon type thing. And it's like, because this art style, it kind of answers questions that I've always had of like, what is that weird pixel thing, you know? And I feel like there's many moments like that kind of add to the nostalgia. That I'm constantly surprised by remembering things, but a little bit different than I originally knew them. And I'm like, oh, that's what that thing's supposed to be. And it's cool. And also, Link's Awakening, one of the weird games where it adopted a lot of Mario stuff into Zelda. So it's weird seeing Goombas and Piranha Plants and also having like the kind of 2D, almost like they're platforming, really basic platforming, but platforming sections. But experience it all again, it feels fresh. And that's such an impressive thing for a game that came out in the early 90s.
Yeah.
That if people have never played the original before, they can play this and it's going to be an amazing game.
Did you play the original?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like original, like on the Game Boy when you were a kid.
I played Deluxe.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of my first Game Boy Color games.
What did you think of it then? Versus like, do you feel differently about it now than you did then?
So it's hard because it's all contextual based on what's come out around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going from Breath of the Wild to this is such an interesting kind of difference, where Breath of the Wild was obviously huge, expansive, changed games as far as I'm concerned. Going back to this, which is as traditional a Zelda as you can get, like I keep saying, it feels smaller, but it feels like home.
Yeah.
And playing through it again now, I'm like, I enjoy it now more than I did then.
Like the original point of
Yeah.
Link's Awakening was, hey, we can put a Zelda on the Game Boy. This is a full-fledged system. Look at what we're doing with like one of our biggest flagship series.
Yeah.
So it's weird that like, not weird, I guess, but interesting that they're taking that and putting like, hey, this is a new modern console/handheld hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
And we're proving that by having the most scaled down Zelda we've ever had.
Yeah.
But isn't it, when you think about it, isn't it technically just back to the NES version? You know what I mean? Like, yes, they proved it worked on the Game Boy, you know.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's just like the original style, right?
With a story and all that. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, like,
I
it
would
was-
argue it's more similar to Link to the Past than it is to the NES game, because, I mean, even in style and abilities, in the kind of just presentation
This came
of
out
it all.
before
Like
Link to the Past.
Did
Didn't
it?
it?
After.
It was,
It was after?
94,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Oh, so it was just after.
It would have been about
Let-
2 to 3 years after, I think.
Let me look.
No,
at it.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
inspired by. That's what I was trying
Yeah,
to get.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it must have been after Link to the Past because it's the same Link.
Yeah, and it's the it's essentially almost the same like map out like layout as
Okay.
well. Essentially.
Okay, so it has like the SNES, you know, Zelda feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And because the remake fixes a lot of the little quality of life things the Game Boy had. Game Boy only having 2 buttons, you had to switch between your sword, shield, and your additional items constantly, and that's super annoying. Where in this one, Switch, you can map it to the other buttons. So at any moment, you can use sword, shield, plus 2 other different items.
Gotcha.
Whether it's Pegasus boots to let you jump, that honestly I feel like should just be tied to a different button. In
I wouldn't have
general,
minded
but-
if they just put that on like the left stick or whatever, or not left stick, left shoulder button.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm having such a great time with the game. I think you've never played Link's Awakening.
Correct, yeah.
I can't wait for you to play this.
Yeah.
I think you're really, really, really gonna dig it. It's a little bit slow and like
But I don't mind that. And that's the thing is, I think I just, being a Sega kid, had overlooked Zelda for so long, and it wasn't until 64, Ocarina of Time, when that was handed to me by Mike O'Brien, and he was like, "You have to play this."
yeah.
Like that's what started my love affair with Zelda. But I only really went forward. Even when I got in college clamshell GBA, right? Like I got Link to the Past, but didn't even get that far into it because it was college and I was off doing something else and I was just tinkering around. And it wasn't until A Link Between Worlds, right, that last time around when we were going to Australia for RTX, where I played that like the entire flight out there and beat it. And I was like, this is fucking incredible. It's like I don't mind a different or a throwback Zelda to it, an old school Zelda.
Yeah.
Talk
And
about
this-
Game Boy Advance SP or whatever.
Yeah, the clamshell.
Yeah.
I got the little blue one.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are
You
Cobalt
nothing like
blue.
being,
I have
nothing like
a
being a
F-
broke
a
college
Famicom
kid
one.
at Sam's Club in Columbia, Missouri, and being like, I barely have any money, but I do have enough to get a Game Boy, but I'll only get it if they have. And I went through and like, oh, there's the Extreme Ghostbusters game. We're doing it. Bought it. And that was God telling me to get it, and I never looked back.
Brilliant.
That is great. The only two real criticisms I have of the game are it feels slow, and what I mean by that is just the character movement. And I understand that it has to be as slow as it is because the map is so small. So like they're trying to like pad out the experience a little bit more. But I would much rather it be like less hours to beat, but you're moving faster and getting through things. Because there's so many times where I'm like, okay, I know where I need to go. Just let me get there.
like, come on,
the fast travel's good. There's like portal systems and stuff, but I feel like there's not enough of them for me playing through this. But again, I've played it before, so it's kind of this weird thing of like I already know where I'm supposed to go. Whereas I don't know if it was just a totally fresh experience, if I'd be more like open to explore.
Yeah, that's a big difference, when you know like what's coming, because you are just trying to get to the parts that you already like versus the wonder of where like what could happen around this next corner. So like I would go through that if I played Super Metroid, which is something I've just played and done so many times. But you go through, you got to go backwards now, right? Stuff like that, and you're like,
Like,
really,
I know exactly what I need to do.
but the first time you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like, let's compare that to a fairly other recent Nintendo remake, because they recently remade Metroid 2, also a Game Boy game.
Yeah.
That game is drastically different from the original. Do you think that Link's Awakening would have been a better remake or a better game or more justifying the $60 if they changed a whole bunch of stuff with it?
No. Like I feel like it's good that they didn't change a whole bunch of stuff with it. I also really don't feel like they need to. It being $60, I will say feels off. Like
Really?
Yes.
This was a Games Daily question today
Yeah.
where Imran and I were talking about
Yeah, I
it.
mean-
Your money's worth what your money's worth. What is it worth it to
And
you?
it's like, is this game worth $60 because of the quality? Yes. Is it worth it for the amount of time you're going to put into it? I don't think
how
so.
long? I mean,
And-
this is hard because I know you're.
It gets hard because I
You
know what
knew
I'm
what to
doing. But
do.
even then, it's like total
20 hours.
14 hours probably.
See, for me, that sounds perfect. Like,
Yeah.
I understand everybody's money's different. Obviously, everybody's time's
Yeah,
different.
it's very subjective.
For me, though, like a $14, like really awesomely well done Zelda, beautiful.
But you can just play Oceanhorn 2 for $5 or
Dude,
free this month. on the
Wait till we
Apple
get
Arcade.
there. Don't even get me started on Apple
That is,
Arcade.
I know. We knew we were going to talk about it, so threw it in. But that is the way, I think, to think about it. Like,
I think Metroid 2 had faults, the original one, right? Like real glaring omissions, and it like wasn't a great game in my opinion. from
Right,
what
no,
I
the
played.
original Metroid 2 was not a great game at all.
Like comparing it to Metroid or Super Metroid for sure, you're like, all right, that's definitely the worst. Whereas with Link to the Past, it is such a great game that arguably I think it's better than the NES ones. And it's like Link to the Past is better, but like they're comparable. Like they're in the same conversation of quality. Of course, it's scaled down because it's Game Boy and all that. But I think that they really made the most of what they had. Like really made the most of what they had with it. And I think that Nintendo's proving it with this remake of like, wow, this game is really, really special and really good. The characters are so endearing. The world feels so alive. But the dungeons are something that I'm finding very different than what I remembered them being. I remember them being these like Zelda Link to the Past style puzzle rooms where every single thing is adding to the next. You get this ability that allows you to the classic Zelda format, right?
Right.
I feel like the dungeons in this game are a bit more focused on beat all the bad guys in the room. to get to the next room.
And then smack your sword against every wall.
Smack your sword against it. Like find a secret exit that like it's less puzzle focused. And whenever it is puzzle focused, it's like it's
Throw
not
a pot at this door.
Yeah, it's like, and it's weird shit where it's like it's not ever super understood. Like there will be a weird thing where it's like, yeah, there's an image of a pot on the door, and you're like, all right, I guess I throw the pot at the door. Like, but it's like it's weird and it feels very unvideo game to me. Like
Yeah.
it feels on Zelda, where it's like I feel like you kind of learn the language that the game is trying to teach you to be able to make it through different puzzles and understand the type of puzzles they might throw at you, and then they add more elements to those puzzles as you go on. This one kind of doesn't do that. It's like every dungeon's kind of the same idea, which is we're going to introduce a whole bunch of new shit in every room, and you kind of just need to figure that out. And it's still amazing, but it's not what I remember it being.
Yeah. It's a Zelda. I think it was the first Zelda I would say that's much more focused on the overworld than it is like within the dungeons, because it wants you to go around and meet all these characters and bring them certain things, and then go into a dungeon for like a short jaunt where you're doing like, I want to say each dungeon's maybe like 20 rooms
Max. Yeah, and it's like there's much less of a focus on the like upstairs, downstairs kind of like remembering where you are on the map that I feel like Link to the Past really excelled at. You know, like you'd be on the second floor and then you jump off something to fall, and then you're on the first floor, which allows you to
You're like
access
learning the
thing.
science of like how everything is connected.
Totally.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I think, is a lot more kind of just get through this room, which will lead to the next room, which will lead to the next room. You know exactly how you're going. But that's not really a criticism. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I think that in the halfway through I am now, the pacing is so good of every single time I'm in a dungeon, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get done with this to get back to the overworld. And every time I'm in the overworld, I'm like, I can't wait to get to the next dungeon.
That's good.
And
That's
it's
something.
not like, oh, I don't want to be doing this. It's, oh, I can't wait for the next thing. Every part of the game feels valuable.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I think this remake could only come after Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
After like they've already said, hey, we're taking a different tack with Zelda now, but also here's that thing you loved, and it's exactly like the traditional thing you loved already.
Yeah. And I totally recommend it to people because it is a very special game with a lot going for it. And the art style is beautiful. Having said that, I think the art style gets in its own way a little bit, where there are frame rate issues constantly, and they're
That was my
unacceptable.
top question. I've been holding on to it.
Absolutely
It
unacceptable.
ended up with frame rate issues.
At E3, people were talking about it.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice it when I
Yeah.
played, but I didn't get to play that long.
Yeah.
And now that this is happening, in my first day or two of playing, I was just like, it's not that bad. And I was playing handheld. But then I put it up on the TV, and all of a sudden, like, everything about it was much bigger, much more apparent. And it's docked, which means it should be performing even better.
Yeah.
The visual style is like kind of makes everything look like little toys, and it has that
It's a little
tilt
shift.
The
It's like a
tilt shift
diorama
look.
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. It has like a vignette around the whole thing that like blurs out the borders of the screen. And it adds to the look. Octopath Traveler did a similar thing.
Yeah.
It's necessary to achieve the kind of look, but that causes a lot of the frame rate issues because it's
interesting.
blurring whatever's behind it. So it doesn't just have frame rate issues when there's a lot of enemies on screen. It has frame rate issues when there's a lot of bushes on screen because the bushes,
come on, man.
when you're moving, have to
It
blur.
has effects on
it-
them, sure.
It's like Gaussian blur on every single like leaf that's doing this. So you get this kind of flicker effect that's really annoying and causes slowdown.
Is there an Unreal logo at the beginning of this game? Out of curiosity.
But it's a very weird choice where, again, I get it. I understand why they have to do it to achieve the look that they're going for. But that's what's causing the frame rate stuff. And when you add enemies on screen on top of that, it really starts to add up. And it's just, it's distracting. It doesn't ruin the game, but it is very distracting.
So you'd
really too bad to hear.
recommend playing handheld for the most part then?
I mean, but you even notice it
It'd
handled.
be the same problem, right?
Yeah, you still see
It's
the,
not adding.
kinda
It should be worse, I'm sure.
flicker.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't add like a resolution performance type mode or something. But I mean, the real problem is, Nintendo's pinch a penny design philosophy of, I love that Switch is affordable, but now we get to see come on, I bet you Oceanhorn looks amazing on my phone, right? And probably runs well. Like the Switch hardware, sorry to rant on it, but what a bummer. This game should look beautiful. It should run at 60, and they could have designed that, and they didn't.
See,
and that's why we all want Switch Pro.
But I don't think that would help. I think
of course it would. Why not?
Because I think the thing causing the problem is the art style.
Overlaying a blur over some toy
Yeah.
bushes?
Yeah.
That's an absurd
The
idea. to
blur
me.
when you're moving, it's a visual thing.
Yeah, but it's just a blur.
I mean, you can hit whatever frame rate you want to do. You just need to
Yeah,
tear
exactly.
down.
You-
It's just-
you get my
They
point.
chose not to pair it. Is the problem?
I mean, it's or their ability to whatever use this effect.
But,
and-
like-
yeah, you can do it 1,000 different ways.
yeah,
That's,
you can
right?
make a game look worse if you want to. They decided it was a bigger
They pushed
priority
it
to
too
make it
far.
look like this than it was to have a consistent frame rate and transitions.
I'm sure they wanted to land at 30 and they just couldn't make it. Anyway, I do love the style, but meaning they chose the style and the platform. It's just unfortunate because I do think the game looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited to play it. I was hoping these frame rate issues would go away, and man, if it only
definitely
ran
didn't.
at 60 on top of it, like I'm just saying, give me a Switch Pro. I'll buy that for the game. Hopefully, it'll be $30-$40 then, and then now I'll get excited.
Do we see
Dream.
any sort of update helping with it at all?
I doubt it because again, it's like I understand the performance issues of the hardware and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
don't think it's that. I think it's the choice of the art style that is causing the problems. That even if it was on a PlayStation 4, it's like it's still the art style would be distracting. Like that's the issue that is causing the performance issues.
I guess we'll just have to like play it to really like understand because like I'm
Yeah,
having
it might
like, a
not
hard
bother
time.
some people. It might bother
Yeah.
some more.
Gonna bother the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, it's going to bother the hell out of you, I'm sure.
Speaking of,
But it didn't ruin the experience for you, right?
No,
To be
it's
clear, yeah.
distracting.
Yeah, the game's not fast enough. Yeah, and that's I think the counter argument is you get used to stuff like that. It's running 25 to 30 or 20 sometimes, and it's like as long as you're not in the middle of combat and you have real issues, like sucks, but it doesn't ruin it, right?
Speaking of small but not ruinous things, when I played the game at PAX, there was a thing where every time you grabbed an acorn of power, it would tell you exactly what it does. Every time you grab the acorn of defense, triangle of power, does it still do that in the full game? Every single time?
single time.
Fucking, they're going back to these Skyward Sword tactics.
Yeah.
Every time you pick up an item, even though you know what it is.
Yep.
Every fucking time.
I mean, again, this goes back to the movement speed of the character. I think there's a lot of things in this game to pad it out,
Right.
to make it a longer experience. And the one thing that they added is the dungeon. I forgot exactly what it's called, but in the deluxe edition on Game Boy Color, they added the like photography room with the Game Boy Color or Game Boy camera and printer, where you can like take weird pictures and do stuff. That add a couple story elements that were cool to the original game. That house is now a place where you can go and collect different like bits from dungeon tiles that you put together to like make these dungeons. But it's like it's such a unnecessary feature that I don't see anybody really getting behind and getting into. It's Mario Maker light.
I
with
kind of wonder
Zelda.
if it was like a prototype for a Zelda maker. They're like, we can't do this, so let's just throw this in here.
That honestly is kind of how it feels. And it's that combined with they're just like, we need some more content because $60 for this game's gonna piss people
I
off.
am genuinely shocked there was no like Four Swords style thing in that game.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo was so big on this local single screen multiplayer. Why is this not in Link's Awakening?
Yeah,
And
that's
my-
actually a really good point.
My assumption is probably performance reasons.
Yeah, that would make it worse. But
Yeah.
I mean, plus the time, just they do have to redesign stuff, and it sounds
Yeah.
like they didn't redesign the gameplay at all either. So,
Which is a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah, you probably
Yeah, I
don't
was just
want.
saying
yeah.
if they did the co-op, it would require, suddenly you need two gates that two people do two things at once or whatever it is.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like this game is out now because Breath of the Wild 2 was out later.
Yep.
So they want this out well before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, Greg Miller.
Hey, buddy.
Apple Arcade came out today.
Correct.
I want to hear about your experience with it.
Just came out.
I'm too excited about it.
Oh,
'Cause it seems like it's too good of a deal, right? Are you not excited? I haven't talked to you about your Apple Arcade. No, you're not. You have nothing
You
for
mean
it.
the money value?
I mean,
you say
the
that?
idea of it and what they've launched with here.
Yeah.
Because it was that thing where when I went last week to the Apple event, right, and got to sit there and watch their presentation, they start talking about it and they show the 3 games, right? And it's Frogger, and you're like, all right. The weird C game, you're like, this looks like crap. And then it was Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I was like, whoa, wait, Sayonara Wild Hearts a game I've been looking for, right? And then, okay, cool, you get 1 month free. It's going to be $5 after that. You get moving. And then since then, all these different cracks in the dam of games that have started to say they're coming or what's going to happen, and all like these, like the iOS 13 beta kicked off earlier this week, which then opened the floodgates of all these games are on there. That's way more than we thought there was going to be. These different things are happening. I've found myself in my excitement getting ratcheted up. It feels like by the day to where I was suddenly looking forward really intently to today, to Thursday, of getting in there and seeing what this thing was and seeing what the value was going to be and seeing what games were going to be there. And it went live as we were doing Games Daily. Came off and immediately jumped in. And the first round of games I grabbed, right, were Overland, from the Kind of Funny Games Showcase. Plus, we've seen it before at a million different shows. Sayonara Wild Hearts, a game that I've played on Switch at preview events and I'm super stoked about. What the Golf, which has been really funny before. And I can't remember if they've done showcase stuff before or if they've just been in the running for showcase stuff before. But I think they were in it for maybe the very, very, very first one, right?
They were. Yeah.
Cricket Through the Ages. Jenny LeClue, a game I've seen at PAX, I feel like, for the last decade, but it's
Also
finally
in the
here.
showcase.
Exactly. And then Assemble, which looks like this like weird little Florency thing. And then Grindstone, the latest from Cappy. And that's just what I downloaded to begin with. And I put out that screenshot and I said, what am I missing? And people have inundated me with other games I'm missing from other developers that I already know and love. I'm not usually the mobile guy, right? Like, and I'm not usually super excited for mobile games, but the 7 I just listed, I'm super into from what I've seen before and want to do it. But it's always that question of how long will it grab you? How much will it do you, right?
What also is mobile the right home for them?
Yeah, exactly, right? Well, here's the thing, though, is that you know me. I'm a huge fucking broken record bitch where, hey, you know what I want? I want to put a screen in my bag and a controller in my bag. That's why I'm excited for Stadia. I hope xCloud's great, blah, 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 blah. Sayonara Wild Hearts, right? Like, okay, it's one of the games that's controller compatible with my iOS devices, right? Now, the iOS for iPad isn't up and running yet, so you can't do it there. But when it is, right, and I can just like bust it out and have a TV-sized screen right there and I'm playing it, that's awesome. I'm going to play this on my phone because it seems like it'll be a great fit. And I don't know if I'll use a controller on the bus, but later on I will.
Would you say that's the argument for like buying Sayonara Wild Hearts on this over Switch?
Yeah.
Or is it just the fact that you don't have to actually buy it?
I think it's the fact that you don't have to buy it. It's already included in the subscription. Well, here's my thing, is that I, based on the demo I played of Sayonara Wild Hearts on Switch, would already buy Sayonara Wild Hearts, right? So the fact that it's already, for me, with Apple Arcade, and this is obviously day 1, hour 4 or whatever, I'm looking every month to have at least a game in there that justifies the purchase price, right? Justifies the subscription of $5, which, even though I didn't pay for this month, Sayonara Wild Hearts would do it from what I've played at previews and what I want to play. Like, I would give them $5, no problem for that game.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's here already, the fact that it's already in my pocket already, because that's what I struggle with the games I have on my phone right now, is that it will be every day when I take the train to work, I go down at Forest Hill Station and I'm underground. And depending on Muni, I'm down there for 3 minutes and maybe I'm down there for 25. And every time I get down there is when I'm like, all right, cool, I'll play a mobile game. But Dr. Mar needs an internet connection.
Yeah.
Shit. Fuck, all these need internet connections. None of them are standalone. They're all doing that thing, right? Whereas the arcade games don't. The arcade games you straight up have. Like, they're ready to go. So, yeah, I think I would be more inclined to play Wild Hearts on this because it's more of an experience than it is a game or Twitch, and I don't need joysticks for it. It's, back and forth, music, album you're playing through, let alone that I could have the controller if I wanted to it. But then, like I'm saying, like, I thought I'd be playing Wild Hearts today, but then it was that Grindstone game, that the new game from Cappy, of course, the people who made Below Critter Crunch, and, have worked on what they got Sword and Sorcery out. They helped get Sword and Sorcery out. Jumping into that one today, I've been playing that all day, and I haven't stopped. And it's like, I tweeted about it, right? Of like, well, this is already on my short list of my favorite games this year. Like, this
So
is...
what is it?
So, it's... what do they call it? A hack and slash puzzle game, right? So, Barrett, can you actually... Thank you very much, just to make it easier, because it's one of those games that is simple to see. When you see it, you get it, right? So, as you see, Tim Gettys, you have the 3 hearts at top, right? You got your guy there, right? Joe Junt, whatever. He's
Joe Jonas?
No, yeah, Joe Jonas is what we're calling him for the rest of this demo. Sure, he's a big green or bluish dude there with a sword, right? The idea is that you're going into these things to fight critters, right? You're fighting the bad guys in these different mines. There's a map. You go up, and you climb this giant mountain, fighting in different environments with different people. Bless you. In these different rows here, the colored guys get in there, right? And so then it's a matching game where he starts attacking. If I went and attacked the blue guy, I can then attack the 2 blue guys next to him and chain those together. But I can only chain together the same color. And if you notice up here, it's a 0 of 50. That means I have to kill 50 critters in this thing to open the cave door to go to the next level. Now, as you go, right, you're collecting gems. The gems are used to restore health, to upgrade equipment, to make new equipment afterwards. They give you different things that you can equip. So I have a shield down here. I have an arrow down here. I have a spin attack, right? Each one of those I can use once in the level. I'm sure this will change and upgrade, and I can do it multiple times. But for right now, with me on what? Level, I think like 11. That's where I'm at right now in terms of, level 10. And so you go through, you play, you attach them. As you hit the gems, which are the things you want to collect, you're able then to switch the color, so you can start doing these crazy chains. And then as you start doing crazy chains, down here on your little attack button, you'll see, okay, if you do that, you're going to earn a gem, which will then help you get more gems, which will then help you increase your, not level up, but your equipment gets better, the ability to heal yourself, to get these. I'm picking up different things that I'm going to use to craft outside of it, because right now when I go back to the inn, it's either I go to the bar to drink to regain my health, or I go to the workshop to, when I have a blueprint, craft a new weapon, craft a new ability.
Is this game available on iOS outside of Apple Arcade, or is Apple Arcade kind of the new?
Apple Arcade is the thing. If it's on Apple Arcade, it's Apple Arcade mobile exclusive. If it's on Apple Arcade, it's exclusive to Apple Arcade, and then it's exclusive to that subscription service, meaning that it can't be on Xbox or whatever.
Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I do believe you can't buy these games outside of that. I'm wrong, Imran, or am I?
I don't see it on the App Store. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you can only get the game. I'm correct then.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
trying to
just
Google. I
exclusive
was
to it.
looking at it, and it looked like it was only in the
Yeah.
arcade. But
Yeah.
if you could see it at the store, that'd be.
Yeah, no, because I'm pretty sure I'm like 98% on that. So I just
Yeah.
want to make sure, because what they've said is Apple Arcade exclusivity means that it's mobile exclusive, so it won't be anywhere else in terms of a mobile platform. It won't be on another subscription service. But like Sayonara Wild Hearts can be on PlayStation 4, it can be on Switch, but there you have to pay whatever full price for it.
I have so many questions about Apple Arcade, and I'm interested to see like a year from now what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I like mobile games. I pay for mobile games. I get addicted to mobile games quite often.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking at the games thing when I open up the App Store, just be like, oh, is there something that looks interesting?
Yeah.
Like, because I'll buy a game for $4 just because it's like I'll give this thing a shot
Sure.
and be addicted to it for a while. But that's pretty rare. Like, I don't think that there's always stuff that I'm like, oh, this is worth the $4.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if once a month there'd be something that I'm like, this is worth
But
paying for. But what I'm interested in is if they get enough people, can they convince traditional gamers to get in on this, to use their phone as a game system in the way you're talking about with the actual controller, right?
Yes.
But
I do
that's the
understand what
thing.
you're
I was going to say, but I think I got this right. The phone is one of the points of entry, but like what you should do, Tim, 100% to really judge this, you should get Oceanhorn 2 and go, I don't know if you have Apple TV, but you should play it on your TV.
Don't.
Well, do it.
Yeah.
Put it on
Because
your
like
iPad.
to me, that's going to be because then you can play it on both, right? I'm pretty
No,
sure.
so okay, I get that. What I'm saying is, I wonder how many people are actually gonna do that when they could just play Oceanhorn somewhere else if they wanted to, or like, why would Apple Arcade be the thing that they're like, I'm gonna pay
So,
$5 a month to
I don't
get
think
this?
the plan is to get people to actually pay for it. Honestly, I don't think it's let's get a whole massive gamers to come to iPhone instead. It's to encourage those kinds of games to be on Apple platforms, because there was the problem, which I think Apple recognized, that if you wanted to make a mobile game, it can't be a single player one and done like Oceanhorn 2 style thing. It had to be a free to play gotcha bullshit game.
Yeah.
So this is the Apple saying, okay, we're gonna subsidize and publish some of these games. We're gonna make some money back that way, which is why this is such a low cost anyway. But we don't want to lose all these games to something else. This is them trying to take their share of the indie market back.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's actually aimed at like us. It is aimed at people who already want to be on phones, who already want to play games on phones, and this is an option for them to play better games on phones.
Hold on one second, because I do think it is aimed at us. I do think that there is, and I'm sure, don't get me wrong, it's one of those small percentile things, but for the first time ever, like with this, when it was that presentation, even though when they ended with Wild Hearts, and then when I got to go out and talk to Charles Onyett, former IGN, right, and use the controller and do this thing and talk to Bozon and see the excitement in it, and then see the caliber of developers they're bringing to it, I do think that the presentation we saw at the phone reveal and at the Apple conference was very much like, hey, older gamer or older people using a phone, you've heard of Frogger, you've heard of this, and then hey, games people, you've heard of Sayonara Wild Hearts, and you've heard of Cappy, and you've heard of the people who made X, Y, and Z. I do think it is a way to get you excited about it. And to the point, your point, right, of every so often I do the same thing of open the App Store and like, man, what's here? And I look at it, I'm like, I don't know any of these games. I'm not just going to give them my money. And so I wait for Jared to come in and talk about Ding Dong XL. Whereas now, like, legitimately, I put out the thing of, like, here's what I got. What else do I need? And everybody else is like, this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, sure. I'm like favoriting those tweets and getting ready to download those to where I'll actually be trying it.
Yeah.
And so if once a month somebody can be like, man, this is a really dope thing. And if it's actually converting. Because, again, if you look at Twitter today, whether it be Klepek, whether it be Polygon writing up an article, whether it be I saw Lucy James, like a lot of people in our sphere are suddenly talking about mobile games, which has not happened in the longest time, if ever. I guess with the exception of Animal Crossing and Dr.
That's
Mario.
a 70-game launch, though. What's going to happen next month?
Totally.
It's like 5 games.
But again, then it is that thing of where Apple still has the money, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, it is how committed to this are they? What do they really want to do? But they did somewhat secretly have a whole bunch of people working on a whole bunch of different games. To where it was that, like, we're going to have 100 games at launch, or whatever, a month, I think is what they're wiggling on or something. In the launch window,
In the month,
we're going to have 100 games. Right now, it's like 56 or 58
50.
was the idea at a beta. That is still a ton of games. We all immediately were like, okay, Shovelware Central. And then you get in, you're like, oh, fuck, wait, these are actually, like, they're
Yeah,
actually
it's
names
not.
I recognize.
Yeah, you convinced me in the time that you're talking about it. Check it out, get the free month and stuff. Tim, the number one thing on the fucking first page, Sonic Racing. Let's go.
Right?
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the irony actually is that and this is what all these people, our ex,
These
IGN friends, our ex IGN friends would it upset them, but like, I said it to them. I was talking to the team, some of the team members over there, and I was like, it's ironic because actually all this has been there already. I mean, we're on Oceanhorn 2. Like, there's been a impossible road now, super impossible road. Like, all this has been there. It's that the presentation and the value and the risk was like, I don't know. Should I check this one out? And like now for free the first month, and we know we're now hearing the quality sphere. You're like, there's going to be like 100 games, and actually they're all quite good. But meaning that's a huge difference, at least for me, where I'm like, I don't know if I want to drop $5 even on Oceanhorn. I'm like, I don't know. Now I'm like, for $5, I know there's going to be something to play seemingly every month at all times based on the launch and the value. If it was $40, I don't think we'd be having the same reaction.
God, no.
Exactly.
way.
But
I guess that's the thing is,
survive.
like, they've done the right thing, and check for the second argument, just throw the free month out of your head, right? They've just set the bar appropriately. Where when they announced $5, everybody was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like that's I don't know if it was less than you were thinking, but you don't know how much it's going to be or what Apple's going to charge you for it. But then, like, if they have the Enter the Gungeon remake, sequel, Exit the Gungeon there, right? And I know people loved that. That is one of the controller ones. Shantae, right, ready to go. The Card of Darkness is that card game. I don't know. There's the one that I looked at you. Or did you do Judges Week? Not this year, but last.
No.
Okay, they had a game there where you put down cards, and that's on here too. But it's not a card game. It's like
Not like Hearthstone.
no, it's not that. It's like you're building a house of cards. Somebody said it in my things. Let me just look at my tweet.
It's driving Greg nuts now.
I hate that.
But,
you know what I mean?
But the value in particular, I think, is interesting. Like I don't play games on my phone not because I don't think the games are good, and I think that was the point I was getting at. I happen to have all these friends that are in this industry and helped build it now.
Where cards fall.
Yeah,
And I
but
haven't
like
downloaded it. I'm
I
getting
know
it
the
now,
stuff's been
McCaffrey.
there, but I've not been compelled at all to download and play those games. I don't know if I want to spend the money, and it's a risk. Now,
There's no
especially
risk.
for free.
It's just your time, right?
Yeah.
It's
but
Xbox Game Pass, and this is what I've said over and over again. We haven't been on the same show, I don't think, to talk about it. For me, it does what Game Pass does in a way that actually appeals more to us. And I know that, and I mean gamers, hardcore gamers or whatever, right? Where I feel like Xbox Game Pass for us, and you probably viewer, watching, or listening to this, you're like, okay, cool. I have Game Pass. I know what it is. Maybe I want to replay something old, or maybe a Gears or first-party game drops. I'm in it for that, right? Whereas I really do feel that this is, Apple Arcade is Game Pass on a device that I wasn't already playing games on. It would be like if I had the Xbox and I was just watching movies on it. And suddenly they put out Game Pass, and I was like, oh, might as well. And then I found this library, this like wealth of content I wasn't prepared for.
The thing that going back to my initial point, I'm interested to see if they commit to these style games in a year, because I don't think they're going to. I personally don't think there's a home for those games like Oceanhorn and all that.
But it's been
they belong
like this
on
for
Xbox
years.
Game Pass. I know.
XCOM, like all this stuff has been there.
Those
It's just
games
nobody
are there,
took
but
notice.
a lot of the games are also on consoles, and they're better on consoles. They're better played on consoles. People want to play them on consoles. They don't want to play them on these.
Right.
And
Yeah,
my
a
thing
game
is,
like Oceanhorn is
they're
different.
mobile
It's
games
not.
that work on mobile. They work well. And I think that what could be really interesting with the Apple Arcade is if they took some of the free-to-play gotcha bullshit out of it, but it is still the addicting gameplay loops of Peggle Blast, of Kingdom Rush, of those type of things, and put those games on the Apple Arcade. I think people would be a bit more willing to pay $5 a month to be able to get full game experiences that are rewarding constantly throughout the day, that you're just going to check in on
Gotcha.
whatever clicky game you're playing.
But
what I mean?
isn't that what's there right now? I haven't gone through all the games, but
He's talking
I
about.
think it's going to fundamentally change the design of the games that work on mobile already. This game, Grindstone, that you showed,
Yeah.
that already looks like what I'm trying to get at, which is like that looks like a traditional mobile game that works on mobile, but it looks like it's got rid of all the
Right.
microtransactions.
But
bullshit.
it is what you're talking about. Exactly.
But it would only happen if there's a subscription service to back it up.
Sure, of course. And I mean,
Really?
hey, maybe fucking that's what everybody needs. You know what I mean? To get the platform to a place of not maturity, because that sounds like a really a slight to everybody, but to move it forward and like, because why are there the microtransactions in there, right? Because you need to make money on your art, and so that's where you get into these different ruts. If this is a way around that, where it is like, cool, we're Apple, we have the war chest, and we are helping you get your game here, because I'm sure they're giving out deals like Epic Game Store, like Xbox Game Pass, and hence why it's subscription exclusive, right? We're gonna give you this money to make the game you want to make, and then Grindstone, right, works. And is similar to what we've been saying all week about Borderlands, Fran, is a game where I'm like, cool, actually looking forward to the commute home to play more. You know, I mean, I'm excited to get the podcast done to actually play more. Like, but I'm not. It's not what you're talking about. It is what you're talking about in the way that it's not me being like, I can't wait for the cooldown timer to end. I can't wait for my free gems to respawn so I can go play the game.
But just. I mean, I have not played enough mobile games to know this for sure. But isn't that somewhat of a stigma? Or all these mobile games you try to have these microtransactions? They're there,
The ones
but
that
like
succeed do.
stuff that I've played, I haven't run into that issue. Now I haven't played like a ton, but I feel like I've dipped into the more premium stuff. Probably.
Are you going by like what's popular on the charts, or are you going by what people recommend to you?
Usually recommend to me.
That's why,
Yeah.
because like what's popular on the charts is usually the mobile bullshit. But
Do we have an example of like what that recent?
Pego Blast was one of them, right?
Yeah, Pego
I
Blast,
didn't
I think,
play
is
Pego Blast.
one of the most egregious.
And that's a more recent
I
release.
mean, now it's like
years
three,
ago,
or
three
compare
years
like
ago.
Plants
Yeah, I
vs
just-
Zombies
But I
1
mean,
and 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
yeah,
not
there you go.
defending
That's
against
zero.
those things. It is annoying. I just
Fran,
feel like
get out of microtransaction pockets, all
What
right?
I'm trying to do-
Big corporate Fran rolling in.
Here, I'm going to be totally transparent on this. I want to make sure we don't have a bunch of console fans sitting around a table talking about mobile. And I do
But that's
feel
what
like
they
there's a
want.
stigma. No, I know that. I'm worried that there's people out there listening to play, and they're like, guys, like, what games are you talking about? I don't know because I don't play the platform.
Don't worry,
enough.
Justin Davis doesn't watch
So I just
this.
didn't know if it's a current
Dr.
thing.
Mario.
Yeah,
Well,
Dr. Mario did, but that was a
any-
Nintendo miss as well.
But I mean,
So
But that was
Mario
them trying
Kart,
to emulate
yeah.
the market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was
Fire
years
Emblems.
behind though.
it's not
But
though.
but
It's
I
not,
have
like-
I'd have to go through what I've played. But like I've hopped in and played. I think the more premium recommended stuff. I haven't run into that issue, so I do. It's out there, but meaning I just feel like they packaged up 100 of these. Hopefully half of them are quite good, and they're gonna have a strong launch. And like the problem, in other words, Tim, it sounds like you're like worried about all these games come with microtransactions, and I'm like, maybe the ones at the top of the charts, but there's tons of good ones that never did.
No,
Does that
I
make
think you're
sense?
missing my point. My point is currently the addicting games, the games that people, even the quality ones that I would say that mobile gamers that would identify as like the killer apps of mobile. Like if you talk to Andrea Renee or Joey or me when I'm like play these games, the games that I love have all of these little gotcha bitch moments.
That's stuff
to be
you
able to
like,
make money.
but I
The
get that.
games I like. I don't like those features. I'm saying that the subscription service will offset that. They get the money, so they don't need to do that.
Yeah, and I
anymore.
did understand that point. It was just again the idea that all 100 are those types of games. Like, no,
No,
that just happens
I'm
to be
saying-
what you like, apparently.
What
and
I'm
have
saying
run
is,
into.
of the 100 games we have right now, I think that let's say 80 of them aren't that.
Right.
I think that next year those 80 games aren't going to be on this anymore because they're not going to be the ones that work.
I'm really curious what the deal Apple makes, how that looks a year from now, because a lot of these games, they existed prior to Apple Arcade becoming an initiative. So there were already existing things on like, oh, we're going to be on Switch as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
are you fine with that? And some of them weren't, so like some of them are Apple exclusive.
Yeah.
Is the deal in 6 months going to be launch only on Apple Arcade and you're here for 6 months? And we own X amount of revenue, we're doing this and this. Is that going to be as attractive to developers? And if not, is that number of games per month going to go down?
Yeah.
Or quality go down or whatever?
Yeah, I bet it will.
Right now, here's what the top 10 look like, and I'm going to say if they have in-app purchases. Is that
Top
fair?
10 arcade or
This is popular
games.
games.
So this is
not.
mobile game and bullshit.
This is mobile game and bullshit. Popular games, not Apple Arcade, but right now, as of recording, it's Real Racing 3 in-app purchases. It's free.
Yeah.
Occluding Skies, that's a $5 game. Crazy Cake Swap matching, that's got in-app and it's free. Go Rally, that costs $4.99. Grim Valor, $6.99. Idle Heroes, free in-app. Grand Chase, free in-app. Darts of Fury, free in-app. So you see like the trend there, right? Of like being here's the game, you get you in, and then we're going to start giving you the cooldown timers and all this other stuff.
right? Well, free. I mean, naturally, and that's just innate to it. They're free, right? So that's why they're the most popular.
But that's why they have that market.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But even if
of
they're not
course,
free,
free
though,
games are the most.
Kingdom
popular.
Rush is an amazing game, critically acclaimed game. $4. You don't
Yeah.
like Kingdom Rush?
Not a huge fan.
I love Kingdom
Yeah.
Rush. $4. Microtransactions.
And has it. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not
Out the
again,
wazoo.
Yeah,
You don't need to do
it's,
them.
It's like Fortnite. It's actually an incredible game, but it's got micros out the wazoo. But not. I'd say they're not as intrusive as the ones you're talking about.
I will say one of the funny things about this whole thing is like, this is essentially a meta discussion because the reason this thing exists mainly is not to get gamers necessarily on board paying $5 a month. It's to get gamers on board who really like this structure to keep paying for it, realize their iPhone is not up to snuff, and go up to the next one.
It's a good point.
Yeah, because like
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, buy an iPad Pro, buy an Apple TV, and
Buy that new
like,
iPhone
iPad
11
Pro in
Pro.
particular. This stuff probably looks.
Yeah,
best
I have an
on.
iPad Pro, but it's a couple of years old, and I know at some point it's going to end up like, oh, I can't play this game.
Probably everything looks pretty good on that right now. But
Yeah, so we're gonna see how that works out. But I'm eager for this to be. I'm eager for developers to get paid. I have concerns about this being a new structure that is going to drastically affect the way video games are made and played in the future.
We'll see. Borderlands 3, Fran.
oh yeah,
You beat the game?
yep.
Greg Miller, you beat
we
the
spent-
game?
I beat the game.
Nice,
I-
man.
I got off the first planet.
That's
There
what
we
the
go.
Borderlands,
There we
the
go.
official Borderlands
Andy
show
beat it
hosts
too,
do.
if you want to yell for Andy?
Andy Boyer too.
If he's available.
Andy.
I've been playing a lot too.
Have you beaten it?
Whatever.
Then sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. All right.
I didn't hear you give Imran shit where he said
He's
he
my
didn't-
friend.
Okay, cool.
I love you, baby.
Oh my God.
I love you, big baby.
I got level 22 though.
Oh, nice. So you beat Borderlands,
No
right?
spoilers.
Yeah, be Borderlands.
We're
yeah.
getting ready to go into it.
Yeah.
Tim asked Fran. Fran, go.
I think you might as well have a little Borderlands.
Oh, right.
combo.
And don't forget, we host a Borderlands show.
Read my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
We happen to talk about the game at detail, do a little review on the official Borderlands, show, which goes up Friday, which is already up if you're
YouTube.com/Borderlands game.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
That's right.
Twitch TV/Borderlands. Anyway,
our opinion with a grain
so
of
we,
salt.
we do go in a lot of detail. You're gonna watch the interview if you want more details. There's stuff in there
You want that golden key?
exactly. Yeah, I didn't know if we should say that or not.
Yeah, they've been
course.
tweeting all about it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Anyway, skipping forward. I, as a reminder, never played a ton of Borderlands in the past, not because I didn't want to, just because of
you're a coward.
time. Because of time. But I went back. I beat Borderlands 2. I played quite a bit of 1, and it's totally my kind of game. I love shooters. I love all that. Getting it in my hands finally and seeing, what they've done. It is, it's a love letter to Borderlands, and I have found it very, very enjoyable. Yes, there's been a lot of bugs out there for a lot of players. I am using the DX12 beta, and I've had some crashes. I know on PlayStation it's had issues, but I've still seen, even those dealing with it, they are mad because they really want to play the game, and of what they've played, it's a lot of fun. So all I will say is at the core of removing these issues that hopefully get fixed and beware of them, because if you haven't bought it yet, I think that's the message is you might want to hold off until they fix it. But the game is awesome. It's paced out really well. Overall, there's some really clever bosses and boss designs that I'm always a really big fan of. And just the loot chase, getting that next weapon and the gun design in particular, weapon design, I should say, is just like really clever. And it's funny at times too. It was National Hamburger Day yesterday or today or something like
Cheeseburger
that.
Day.
Cheeseburger Day. But
Yesterday, 2 days ago.
I look at Andy as if he is the authority on national days because of freaking.
Was it
Carrot.
National Cheeseburger?
It was last week.
Okay, but they have a cheeseburger gun.
Or
in
no,
the
maybe
game.
it might have been this week. I
It was
forgot.
this week for
No,
sure.
it was yesterday.
But they have a cheeseburger gun in the game. They have a gun that, like, when you reload it, you throw it away. It turns into a bouncy ball that says "shoot me," and it goes ow, 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 and it's like bouncing around. And so I love just how inventive it is and silly, and it doesn't take itself seriously. Like I can't think of any other shooter of this quality, AAA, that does all that. I'm not a huge story guy, but what I'll say is, man, they pack in a ton of voice dialogue. They have a ton of characters surrounding you all the time. And in fact, you can't shut them up. Some people I've seen have been like, nope, be quiet. I'm tired. Every time you're moving, they're talking. But some people love that. I'm streaming, so I didn't know what they said half the time. What I'm getting at, though, holy cow, they have really well animated cinematic story moments in this game. That is a not Borderland crazy fan that totally got me a little choked up. And I was like, oh my God, like out of nowhere too. You're like, hamburger guns, and then boosh, something's happening. And the music is really great. And there's these moments in the game that really, I was like, wow, like I'm really invested now. And these are characters that were surrounding you is my point. They were there and you're like, what's happening to them right now? And so, overall great. And then now we get into the end game where I've only spent a good 5 hours or something, and what that means is new game plus, getting the new weapons, getting a level of difficulty that I want. And that's another big thing.
Is that mayhem? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So you can set mayhem to 1, to 2, to 3. That adds modifiers and difficulty. And as well, you can play True Vault Hunter mode, which is New Game Plus, which is a more difficulty. But once you get into that, man, they turn into some bullet sponges, and now you're really strategizing and doing your loadouts and weapons. And then you can build your characters in very different, meaningful ways. And the last thing I'll land on is I got to the final boss. I was playing co-op, and I played co-op for the most of it. And most of the team, like, they're good. They're try-hard types, and man, they're just nuking stuff. I was slow down guy, and we get to the final
I'm still in
boss.
my backpack, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading some subs over here.
Min-max over here.
Min-maxing, right? No, but they've already done all that, and long story short, we're on the last boss, and it's the level's going down a bit. And whoa, okay. I quit. I actually bailed on the boss because I was like, I don't want to beat this. Hold up. I'm like, guys, I'm going to do this on my own. Went in, got stomped on. I'm like, okay, I like this. I hadn't touched my skill tree yet. This is what I like about games like this. Went back, I went through, I finally read everything. I hadn't taken the time to do the build. And I was like, yeah, like I had a tree that I liked that was fun, playing Zane, called Double Agent. And then I went over to the green tree, and I forget what it's called. But anyway, yeah, I was like, ooh, more shield recovery. I'm going to be able to get out of dodge with more health regen. And I'm like, I need this on the boss. And I built it, went in, first time. It took me like 15-minute boss fight or something. And it was so rewarding. And anyway. So
That's where I screwed up. My skill tree, I did not. I put everything in one skill tree. I totally
Me too.
did.
Oh, you didn't experiment?
I just didn't really even think of putting points in other ones because I thought that you had to be using those other skill trees for those perks.
Well,
to
you get
be
really cool stuff at the
usable.
bottom.
And I never really it never occurred to me that you could do that. And so everything, I played Amara, so everything was in my phase grasp.
Yep.
And I was at the final boss. By the way, just the whole lead up to the final boss, it was so well designed.
Really well done.
Every encounter was so great. It was ramping up, and all these enemies are in really cool, neatly designed little arenas, like mini arenas. And I just thought it was awesome. Leading up to all that, like the action and everything was just sort of intensifying. And then you get to the final boss. Really cool fight, really well designed. I loved all the patterns that the boss had. It took me a while to figure it out. I got super, super close beating it the first time on my own. And then it was a moment where I was depending a lot on my second wins.
Bro, yeah, you kept dying.
And I'm lucky that there were a lot of ads around because I get knocked down and I would see a bug flying. Let me get a little second win, so I would shoot it down or whatever. But I got to a point where I was going for another second wind, and all of my guns needed to be reloaded.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no. Oh, let me switch.
Switch.
Oh,
No, no,
fuck. Oh, let me
no.
switch. Oh, fuck. And then I just died. I was like, God, I was right at the freaking
course.
end. And so I played it again, and I beat the boss, and it was really cool. As somebody who doesn't care about the Borderlands universe at all, I thought the second half to the last third of the game did some really cool stuff story-wise that even as me, not really a fan, was like, that's pretty awesome. I was super lucky to not have any bugs. I had no issues except for...
you had one.
I had one
And
pretty
without
big
spoiling
freaking
the
issue.
moment, what happened?
There was a really cool story moment, and again, I'm somebody who I'm always the unlucky one. I always have the issues with
Me too,
audio.
dude.
I was playing a lot with Chloe and a buddy of ours, Tucker. Chloe kept having the audio cut out on her, where she would hear no dialogue. She was just mute.
I had
so
that
she was like
happen
reading subtitles.
to a gun once.
I was so lucky to not run into any issues, but there
Xbox
was
or PS4?
PS4 Pro. It was a really, really cool moment in the story that happened. And then you spawn back into where you're now playing again, and I spawned underneath the level to an infinite fall. And it was such a great cinematic moment that had me like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Let's fucking go. I'm super hyped right now. And then I spawned underneath the world just to infinite falling. I was like, no.
That happened to me, too.
There's
You had
there's
me.
a clip out of Andy doing. Is it on your Twitter?
It's on my it's too spoilery. It's
Okay,
it's
okay,
on
yeah.
my. I clipped it out. It's in my Twitch clips or whatever. But it was like you fucking had me so. You had me by the balls, man. And then and I was like, fuck, god damn it. So I had to quit
It's
out
a
and
real
go back
mood
in.
killer.
I thought the last half of the game was great.
Any feels?
Huh?
Any feels over the cutscenes? Would you agree with that? Not being a fan, or
I mean, it didn't hit me like
Okay.
probably the bigger fans would, but it was still cool. Like there was a lot of fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. That's really, really cool, and I'm sure the hardcore fans are gonna go crazy over the ending and stuff like that.
I'll be the odd man out. I thought it sucked. I like I had a great time. Yeah, me and Jen beat it last night. Yeah, I mean, I echo everything you guys are saying, right? Like, it was a hell of a ride. I really liked it, the ramp up. I'm excited for more of it, right? Like, we talk about this. Obviously, the Borderlands show is a whole bunch of long conversations.
Yeah,
me
yeah.
and Fran talking about it. But the nutshell is, like, it did exactly what I was looking for that game in terms of co-op, where it all works. It all works.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
gonna
good to
actually
hit on.
disagree a little bit. I think the co-op design on some of the missions really kind of sucks.
What do you mean?
So you and Jen are playing together. It's just you two.
Yeah.
I'm playing in a party of 4. There's a mission towards the end of Pandora where you have to get in a biofuel rig and like.
Yep.
So, my friend jumped in the driver's seat. I jumped in the back. That thing only seats 2 people.
Sure.
So the other 2 people were like, "Okay, we'll just hang out here, I guess." Then my friend's driving. The mission is drive over these number of enemies. So I'm in the gunner seat. I'm like, okay, so I can't do anything either.
Interesting.
Because if
Yeah,
I'm
you can't shoot 'em.
If I'm shooting them, then we're gonna fail the mission, or we just can't finish the mission.
Yeah.
So like, there's a couple of instances like that.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
like I had that same problem with Gears of War 4 a couple of weeks ago when
Sure.
I finished that game.
5.
Well, no, 4.
Okay.
Because the end of that game, my friend grabbed the weapon for the final boss.
Yeah.
Which meant I couldn't
You
do
had
anything.
you didn't have the weapon? That
So I just kind of
sucks.
like stood by, like, all right, I'll just watch you finish the game.
Yeah, those moments that aren't super well thought. Yeah, I can see that.
For
like,
me, I meant
some of it.
in the broad stroke that Jen was able to get through the tutorial, join me on my real quest,
Oh, yeah.
and then go with me the whole way and not feel underpowered and have the enemies
Yeah.
be her level and get loot that mattered. That's
That
what I
stuff
meant.
is great and
Yeah, yeah.
inventive, and like they did a really good job with that. And almost every other aspect for me, Borderlands feels like a game lost in time.
Yeah.
That like if that game came out 6 years ago, it would. If it was a PS4 launch title, it would be hailed as the best PS4 launch title and one of the best launch titles. Period. 7 years later, it feels really weird.
Yeah.
Of like, why there's I don't know if it's different on PS4 and Xbox and console interfaces, but the UI for the PC version sucks. Like, for example,
you mean like the menus?
yeah, the menus
Yeah,
suck.
that's
Like,
my precise complaint about. I talked about that.
Yeah,
on
you
the
bring,
show,
you bring up
actually.
the UI.
like when you see a gun, you can't mark it as loot immediately. You have to put it in your
Yeah.
inventory, then mark
Then
it as
do it.
loot.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I tried to go,
Well, you just gotta
yeah.
find it.
Yeah, go to
Yeah.
a store to sell everything as loot. I could not figure out how to do that because it does not tell you the button to sell everything as loot unless you're highlighting something specifically.
Yeah, like exactly. You gotta hover over stuff, I think,
And then the
like, it
buttons at
fits
the bottom
in.
show up.
Can you loot all junk? Or I mean, sell all junk?
Yeah, you can. I couldn't
just
figure
doesn't-
that out. Yeah.
You have to go to the sell tab,
Gotcha.
which is not totally intuitive. No, it's true. It's funny that I was waiting more towards the end of after hearing what you have to say there, but that was one of my counterpoints.
Dude,
I'll-
another thing that like seems so archaic to me and like that should not be exist in 2019 is that you can't pick your missions from the map.
Yes.
I think that's so fucking frustrating. Like I hate that. You can swap over to the mission tab and then scroll down and then click select and then go back to the map, or from your
What's the problem too of like?
from just your playing, you can like right or left on the D-pad to swap through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't
And
necessarily
cycle.
know if that's in the world. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
That's the problem.
The fact that you can't on the map screen cycle through missions and then have the waypoints switch, so you know exactly like that to me is like so
Yeah,
Were
frustrating.
you the game host in your game, Andy, with your party?
Yes.
Okay, so I saw you and Mike Mahardy talking on Twitter about you can't switch or you can switch the missions with the D-pad, but you can't on the map. So I went there and I was trying to press buttons on the keyboard to like figure out which missions, and sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And then my friends and I figured out at some point that only the game host can switch the missions. So if we wanted to separate, so like, hey, we're on this side of the area, you guys are on that side, why don't I do this mission? You can't. Everyone sees the same missions.
Oh, I
and
see.
only the
Yeah.
game host can change it up if you want.
I
see.
I understand why they designed something like that though, because everybody has their own like save. So I imagine
It's the host world.
yeah, it's the host
Yeah.
world. So if like you're doing something else, but the host technically didn't do that, I imagine there's got to be something on the back end that they were trying to like help keep together so it doesn't get all like fucking frazzled and like saves are getting crossed over. You're more learned about these type of games
Well,
than I am.
it is interesting though, just how things change for other people. Where Barrett had just started the game and was joined me and Greg for a mission.
Yeah.
And we unlocked the ability to break the iridium to
Yeah.
gather the iridium sources.
And you guys were
And
like
then
level 22 and I'm level
We were like 20.
8.
He was like 8,
Yeah.
and then now that feature was unlocked for him for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
even though he
Greg's
hadn't gotten to
thought
that
that
point
too.
yet.
This is one of my big complaints in the Borderlands show. I don't know how much we want to keep talking about the show. Not that I care. I mean, it's all
I mean, there's
Borderlands.
a lot
it's all,
you're
and I'm sure a lot of
missing, right,
actually,
Greg?
Yeah, well, no, it's actually a great point too. That like I'm
It
sure
is.
a lot of people who are our audience won't watch that.
Yeah,
show, so
yeah.
it's bad. No, that's one of my complaints with it is that I think for Jen and I, It works so well. Of sitting there, she's able to join, she's going, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that as you play through Borderlands, you unlock extra weapon slots. You start with 2, you eventually can take it to 4, different abilities. It's not tied to level, it's tied to the actual missions of the game.
Right.
So when Jen jumped ahead with me, similar to what you're talking about, she's now finished the game. She has the ability to have the artifact, read the tablets that are in the world, all this different stuff, but she still only has 2 guns.
Right.
Like she doesn't have the ability to have those other 2 guns.
Interesting.
And so it's like not a breaker by any means, because I'm able to take her to Sanctuary 3 and she's able to spend the money she has to increase her
double-edged
ammo
sword.
capacity and do all this different stuff, but it's still like, oh, that's weird. Why would you tie it that way?
Yeah.
I bet you those are. I would be interested to see what those discussions were like. Of like, what do we allow the person that's tagging along? Like, how much do we? How much freedom do we give them?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Where Greg was originally going with the positive, I think, before we went into the negative stuff, was that it does break down these walls. It's amazing for co-op in that I haven't seen a lot of games that are like, yeah, if you just want to hop in and help with the last boss and you just started, go for it. Which most games, there's an old trope of like, well, you haven't earned it and you got to go through all the stuff. But now you see a bit of a side effect, which is all these powers. And it's like, but yeah, I would, yes, it could be better, but I would also argue, oh, how bad is it? Which maybe is what you're getting
No,
at.
100%. Yeah, again,
In
we've
fact, you
done
just
we've
do
done
it.
the thing is we just
No
keep
friction.
going. I prefer it this way versus Jen's character being like, oh, sorry, you're way too low.
See you in
you
40
can't
hours.
Exactly. I have to go back and waste my time like I used to do in like Division 1. Go back and help.
Or I
somebody
got
all the
shot
way.
by 1 bullet and I'm dead now.
Exactly. I go back and I'm way overpowered, and it's like I kill everything in the map with without emptying or reloading the clip. Or they come to my game, and it's just like stay way back there.
Like
I'm
in
gonna
The
work
Division.
on all this stuff. Yeah, and it's like I'd prefer it this way, but there are even for all the
there's fallout from it.
compliments of man, they did this part of it right. There's still like not bugs, but problems with it in terms of how to make it better.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Imran nailed it in that it is. I actually don't feel like the game feels 7 years old, but design philosophy wise, there's things that have been left in the game that are like 7 years old, that's how I felt about the menus. I was like, I don't get this menu system still. They tried.
Why is
to
it so
improve
laggy?
That's a different issue. We
That's
got
tech
into it
stuff,
on the show a little bit. They're trying to optimize it, but it's not even just the lagginess. It's actually the pure design. Like you were getting at it. Like you select a weapon, you can organize by type. And there's just like simple things you could do that I think would be working, which is like, why can't I just see like pistols, rockets, like shelves or icons that then I can go? Because I find it super hard to find everything in those menus. I feel, I play Destiny. Even that, I feel like iconography wise is easier to find stuff and you hover over things and it's cleaner. And anyway, I do feel like these things have been in Borderlands. They didn't want to change it maybe, but I actually feel like they built on top of something, that's pretty old and it's starting to show. And same with mission design and structure, right? Like, it is just kind of chaotic shooting through these areas, but there's a ton of it. There's some really gratifying enemies and boss designs, but it's not doing anything that's like, brand new modern, right? But I think there's a positive to that, which you get more Borderlands, but I'm feeling, it feels a little dated in terms of the design philosophy.
No, yeah, to be clear, I'm having fun with the game. It's just that while I'm playing it, I'm thinking of, okay, they clearly went off the reservation with Battleborn. They clearly wanted to make a new, different thing with that game. They're like, we're not going to be beholden to Borderlands anymore, and that game failed miserably. So Borderlands 3 feels like it started from the place of, okay, people want more Borderlands.
Yes.
So let's just make that. And they went so absolutely strict with that guideline that there are certain things about that game that I cannot believe exist in the year of our Lord 2019. How do you create that UI this time? Like, let me ask you guys.
I don't think it's that egregious, but I know where you're going with it.
As somebody who's
you make it sound like a PS2 game. It's not like
Borderlands
like
is already kind of old at the time in terms of UI and stuff like that. So like, I've been playing Destiny 2. I've been playing Division 2. Both those games have handle loot and UI much better than Borderlands.
Oh yes. Which is funny because they were both inspired by the original. Yeah, you're right. It hasn't come forward.
Right. And like the UI, when we were talking about the map earlier, you can only put one custom waypoint.
Yeah, I know.
Breath of the Wild came out over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In those 2 years, somebody in that team couldn't go like, what if we had more than one custom
One
waypoint?
color.
Yeah. Why can't we just do that and have it like shine up for people to see?
Totally.
And
Or have smart waypoints like Division.
Yeah.
Where meaning I'm constantly like, I don't know if you went through this, Greg or Andy as well. Like you're trying to figure out which turn to take and which level you're on, and I'm like, I literally
the amount of times I'm driving and Jen will be doing something and she's like, "Why are you stopped?" I'm like, "Well, I gotta look at the map."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this thing's like this branching octopus. I don't know which.
Or like
which
God of War would give you waypoints by turn.
Yeah.
That's
Why
what
can't
I was
you do
getting
that?
at.
Yeah, like that.
It should have that. It's a perfect
I think
example.
Just like the GTA sort of lines
That's
kinda
right.
guiding me or
It
whatever.
should have
you know?
those things.
I agree with what
Absolutely.
you're saying 100%. And I think the way to encapsulate it, when I was doing the stream of it the other day, somebody was like, oh, man. And I'm like, I'm having a great time. I'm having so much fun with this game. It's all we can think about. We all want to get home and play together and do more stuff. And somebody's like, oh, man, that's awesome. Where does it fall in like your game of the year conversation? And I'm like, oh, no, that's not my game of the year. Like, it'll be in my top 10, for sure. Like, I'm having a blast with it. I love it. But, like, it's not the best game of the year.
That's some level of disappointment for me, is because
100%.
Borderlands 2 was like 2 or 3 for me that year it came out. And this is like, okay, this is exactly what I asked for, but I think I wanted more.
And and it's that weird thing where, agreed, but it's comfort food, and that's why I'm enjoying it so much,
Right.
and I'm ready to go with it. And like I talk about in the Borderlands show, and I think we eventually do the same thing we always do, where we're talking, and then like we kind of get off the point. But like in the game of the year conversation, or is it one of your favorite games of the year? Like it wasn't until Jen joined me and we were playing, and I was like, oh wow, this is something new. That you're able to get in here and go, and everything's working in terms of leveling and the moment-to-moment gameplay. That was the first time I was playing it where I was like, oh wow, this is a new idea. Like I'm not seeing this in Division. We talked about Division right at launch. I was broken.
I think that's where their innovation really
Destiny
steps
being
in,
the
yeah.
same way of like Destiny, like when when Luke was in town, we're like, oh, we should do a Let's Play, and they're like, oh, you're too low to play anything with
Yeah,
us.
no,
Like, oh, cool guys, I'll go home. Bye.
The leveling system is honestly, I think it's not only innovative for Borderlands, it's innovative for multiplayer games in general. And I think that a lot of people are going to rip it off in the near future
Oh, sure.
because it does make a lot of sense.
And it works so well for Borderlands in terms of a game where you can play it with the sound down and not care, right?
Yeah.
Like it is that thing of like, if you want a single player and listen and have the story, awesome, more power to you. But like everybody in Kind of Funny who's played with me, I'm like, come join me and jump ahead. Do you care about the story? Oh, fuck no. All right, cool. Oh, this guy's dead. Yeah, that's how it happened. Anyways, let's keep going.
That's how it happens.
What do you guys think of the writing in general?
I've seen it so much, as Fran was talking about it, right? That coin flip of people on the internet being like, I wish I could turn the jokes off, or I love the jokes. And for me, it's exactly what we're saying. It's Borderlands. This is what I expected in terms of humor. And more often than not, I think they get a laugh out of me. Like, I think that there's plenty of times where you're just like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? But then there are the lines or the quests or whatever. The one I brought up on the Borderlands show, which is a side quest and is not spoilery unless you want to know nothing about it, was a mission where I had to go in and kill this one of the psychos right on her wedding day. And so you enter the arena, and like, you know how they note you to death on things to do, and they use it as a joke sometimes. The joke was, like, kill her 4 cousins. You'd kill them, and the next one would pop up and be like, all right, kill the mother-in-law. All right, kill her. And then it'd be like, kill this person, kill the fiance.
Kill all her children.
When the bride-to-be finally arrived, she then narrated while fighting me everything, and it was like, I can't believe you killed my 4 cousins and my mother-in-law. And it was like, that's funny. I was laughing at that.
It was very like Rick and Morty-esque.
That's
at that
exactly
point.
how I talked about it, I
Yeah.
think, in our show, or
Yeah.
one of the shows I've done lately about this. But like, it's that kind of humor for me where I think it probably misses more often, where I don't remember the joke or anything, but when it hits, I'm like, oh, that was fucking funny.
I'd say it misses more often. I thought like probably my favorite line is Troy at one point, one of the villains has like a device or a weapon or some sort, something like that, and he's describing it like, hey, check out my new thing. And he's like, pre-order bonus only. And
Right.
like, I wish it was more Deadpool like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I wish
yeah.
it was more breaking the fourth wall.
It
When-
feels like a
Right.
game written by like 15 different writers, and some of them are good and some of them aren't.
Yeah, I get that vibe a lot. Like I was on my stream, I was like, at any point I'm waiting for that's a cool gun for me to poop on. Like I was waiting for that line at any moment, because at some points it could be super cringy and unfunny, and at some moments like that's creative, like that's good. But
I still love the
more.
line-
I'd say more often than not, like I didn't really enjoy the writing a whole lot.
You hear it a lot when you're fighting the ads, but there's one that I love and laugh at every time. But when you shoot the guy and he's like, "Tell my children, I wish I had them."
There was one good one that was the guy dies and you'll never forget my name. My name is, and then he dies.
Yeah, I think it's very hit or miss like that. I'm not really there for that. And yeah, like they talk a lot.
Yes.
Enemies talk a lot.
The cutscenes are so like I was talking earlier about the Lilith cutscene at the end of Pandora. It is like a good 5 to 6 minutes where you're just watching. And as someone who went to the preview events and has played it, I'm like, I know this. I've seen this cutscene. Let
you
me
can't
skip it.
skip, yeah.
And
You
everyone
can't
wants to
skip.
skip it because it's like, I don't care about story of Borderlands, so let's just keep going and go to the gameplay.
Should have been able to.
Oh yeah, I was kind of bummed when I first rolled. Zane, like, and immediately got in the game. I was like, I don't want to be Zane. Let me restart. Immediately
This is a
restarted,
mistake.
created Amara, and I had
Oh,
to
why
watch
not,
the same
boyo?
intro video. I was like, fuck, I can't skip. This intro's really long.
Yeah.
and I couldn't skip it.
It was the same thing for Jen, who had watched me start my character and play through the beginning, and then when she got joined a couple days later, she's like, "Oh, motherfucker!"
Should be able to skip. But that's what going back on the story point that I had earlier. I actually like the cleverness of the jokes that hit. I mean, there's a bunch, like you said,
and that's
that are
my
like,
thing.
whatever.
Is, for me, it's the ones that hit. I remember the ones that miss. I'm like,
they're literally they're background
Yeah.
noise, and suddenly you hear them too often.
The one I want to shout out is I think early on in the game when you first go to like Sanctuary or something, and you're burning all of like the stuff that's on fire, you're letting it go like out into space. And someone's like, "Oh yeah, you gotta let it go." Like the cool jetpacks, all the left-handed guns,
all the stuff that's ever been requested. Ellie's like, "Oh man, there go the jetpacks, left-handed guns, all of it."
You wanted. But what I was gonna say is, it's interesting when you like. I personally felt some of these really well animated, serious scenes, which is almost what they reserved these big moments for. They're usually not that funny. They're like tend to be pretty serious. I feel like the game actually could. It's setting itself up to have a bit more of that. Like personally, as my own character, I feel like I never got to see them. Like, do you guys feel like that?
See your character?
Yeah.
At the end, last night when we were beating it, there was a cutscene playing, and they hung on empty space, and I turned to Jen, I'm like, I think we're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I think they were supposed to put us in there, but we didn't. Because later on, Lilith in the scene was like strobing. I'm like, that's not right.
But,
you know what I mean?
but think about it, right? You see, I forget what happens in the intro. No, you still don't even see yourself, right? So there must have been something going on with building the characters that it wasn't ready, or I don't know, but like, imagine if we were inserted in there in the same sense of God of War. I think that it's setting itself up for that, and I would have really liked to see that.
I feel like your party should be able to talk to each other. Like, not as players. I mean, the characters should have dialogue with each other. They don't interact.
Yeah. I mean, that would be amazing.
That's always the
as
problem,
well.
right? But then they're trying to scale it to keep the story to make sense.
Yeah, but I feel like this game...
It's a good idea.
This game is brought to you by Take-Two, which is, the company behind GTA 5, and, like, they have the money to make different versions depending on your...
Sure,
like,
fair.
Why can't...
Yeah,
I want to know Amara's backstory and how it relates to... what's his name? Flack.
Yeah. I was talking to another player, and they had brought up the fact that it's weird when sirens are rare in the Borderlands universe, right? It's a big deal if you're a siren. Not here. Exactly. They're on our end.
Not a kind of funny studio.
The character class of sirens are weird, and when there's I played as Flack, so I never would have thought about it, but they were playing a siren class, and so like there's a part where they're all freaking out about a siren, and it's kind of one of those things of like, well, I'm in the room, like should you be freaking out about me or talking to me?
Wait, what are ads?
Additional enemies.
Like
This week's ads. Our quip.
pretty good.
That was good. I'm proud of you, Tim.
And again, I just want to continue to complain because I really hope they fix it. I think the enemies are just they need their own lighting. They need to be in a different lighting.
Oh yeah,
layer.
no, you're 100%.
There's a mission dealing with the Jacobs Corporation, which is, by the way, the best guns.
Yes.
I have a Jacobs sniper right now. and
One of
it's
the best
just,
environments too. And the environment that you're gonna talk about how dark it is and how hard it is to see enemies.
Oh
but one
my
of those
god!
environments.
It's just I'm looking at the radar and I see 2 red dots. Like I hope I'm shooting at them right now because
It's good on PC.
everybody is so dark. But it's weird. Like I posted up a clip on Twitter recently where I'm in one of the areas on Eden 6 or whatever, and I see an NPC in the distance. And as I walk up closer, they just disappear into the darkness. And
really?
and that's just, to me, that's like
Interesting.
there's just something happening with their rendering or the layer that they're on. But usually, like I prefer in Destiny or in these other games where the
Phase
enemies
out.
have like a stroke on them of some sort, and you can see what you're shooting at.
Yeah.
But there's so many of these instances where the smaller enemies, the twinks or tinks,
Thanks.
Yeah.
where like not only are they smaller, so like sometimes they're out of your sight lines, but they're also just they blend in with the
They're
ground.
really
and
hard
shit.
to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I really hope they improve that because it can be really frustrating.
I
that's-
agree. We talked.
That's one
that
thing
came up on the show,
Paul's
too.
talked about. Yeah, of like that they are taking this all in. They know it's a work in progress. And we'll see what happens.
We've talked a lot about Borderlands.
Real quick before we jump,
Yes.
I just want to do so. Like, it did turn into a bitch fest from all of us. We like the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like.
I'm
the game.
enjoying it.
Yeah, I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you
Despite
want,
its
if you want to
flaws.
hear more stuff, what's up?
Show.
Oh, the Borderlands show with me, Fran, and Paul Sage, creative director on Borderlands. You can check it out. YouTube.com/Borderlands game. If you're watching live right now, Twitch.tv/Borderlands tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
Yep.
There you go.
20th.
Asking about microtransactions. In my experience, that works great.
I can't believe you'd fuck us like this.
Did I ever tell that full? No, I never told that full story, and I don't want to until the person also involved wants me to tell that story.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a pretty funny thing of how that all went down.
I'll never
I
forget
also
that.
beat Astral Chain like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna still save that.
It was real good. Let's just say
because I want to hear about Monster Hunter Iceborne.
All right, so I've been playing Monster Hunter Iceborne, which is the expansion to Monster Hunter World. It is a new area. I think that like 30 new, not 30. 30 is a huge number, but a number of new monsters that you're playing in a new area with new weapons, new armor. It is so fucking hard. It is like I put I think 300 hours in the Monster Hunter World.
Oh my.
It's very easy because like you just go in, I'm gonna do one hunt today, and
Yeah.
and I'm gonna start work after this or whatever. So it's extremely easy to rack up time in that game. When I started Iceborne, I'm like, okay, I played it at a preview event a couple of months ago before. Then I played again like on the retail version, like, okay, surely now that I have my character and all that, it'll be a lot easier. It's not that much easier. I got to I think the third monster before I had to actually like quit out of frustration for a little bit.
Wow.
Because they expect you to be nearly an expert level monster hunter or have friends with you.
Wow.
And I had neither at the time.
Is this like an experience level endgame thing that they assumed you did in the previous?
Yeah,
original?
you cannot start the game unless you have a completed Monster Hunter World save file.
But you did that part.
Yes.
But in other words, is there more endgame and things that you maybe could have gotten that would have made this easier? Or it's just strategically, in other words, are you saying they just assume you're a top tier player?
I
See the difference?
Theoretically, I could have gotten some level of armor that like would, for example, have more poison charms than it would be like and would make it easier to fight a certain monster than it would otherwise.
Yeah.
But honestly, that would not have made a huge difference.
That's what yeah. So it's not like you didn't play your share of the first one and got a bunch of stuff. It just suddenly it's a very difficult game.
Right.
Strategically.
Like enemies hurt a lot harder. They are much more aggressive. The like small little monsters around you are more aggressive. They very much expect you to either be an expert monster hunter or you have a team with you. Or
So I was
both.
going to ask, you're playing solo, not co-op.
I am playing solo because I played through Monster Hunter World solo, and it was fine for me that way.
Really?
Yeah,
That could be there's matchmaking in the game, right?
there is. You can set up an SOS, and like people can answer, but
Yeah.
like it's a question of how many people are actually playing the game at the same time.
Yeah, it's like
I
Dark
am.
Souls.
Yeah, how many people are ahead of me? How many people are like going back to these older missions? Like, do they need? Am I in a monster that has a very popular armor set? Because then people are going to constantly be looking to fight that monster. Or am I in a monster that like the armor set sucks, so no one's going to come and help this mission? So if you need like a group of friends that will come with you, but also Monster Hunter World is not very conducive to playing with friends because you have to
Can't just jump in.
well you can, but you have for a friend to play in a mission with you, you have to see the monster first, which results in a cutscene. So you have to be able to go see that cutscene. You've experienced it this world,
Again,
right?
this is exactly what I was talking about of why Jen and I loved Borderlands, because me and Jen played Monster Hunter World. Like,
Yeah.
I did 130, she did like 115 together. And it was that thing of just like, yeah, where the fucking cutscenes are happening, playing. It's such a pain in the yeah, go
Yeah, and like that's the same thing with World, and all the cutscenes are unskippable. Which, as somebody that went to a preview event and played 4 hours of it, is fucking insane. It really bothers me. But going through all that stuff again I figured it would be easier, and it is absolutely not. To the point where I kind of wonder, unless I can get a group together, if I can even play the rest.
Wow.
As somebody that put literally hundreds of hours into the previous game, and I played G rank Monster Hunter. Like this is basically they used to re-release Monster Hunter games, and now this is like an expansion versus a re-release. So I've gotten the G rank stuff in Monster Hunter 4 and Monster Hunter 3 before. This one is called Master Rank because they want to westernize it a little bit, but I've done that stuff before, and this one just seems way harder.
So do you, and maybe give me the history here, do you think that they could rebalance this and release a patch? Does it go through that normally, like they rebalance monsters and stuff normally? Do you think that's a solution?
I think they'll.
2 questions.
Yeah, they probably want to just do what they're like, go with this because I'm sure it is meant to be this hard.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Monster Hunter audience, right? The hardcore
You're
that
a real
stuck with
monster
it and
hunter.
played
Yeah,
it every
maybe.
day. And I don't, yeah, and
Gotta
I
get
do
Casey
mean that.
DeFreitas on the phone.
Right, it's that thing where I joke around. I like for us, I'm like, oh, 130 hours. People are like, oh man, you played a lot. And then if you're a Monster Hunter fan, you're like, Greg's played jack shit at this game. You know what I mean?
I've played double what you have. It's
Yeah.
still a very small amount compared to
Exactly,
a lot of players.
right? And so, yeah, I think it is designed for those people who've stuck around and done it. But
Yeah.
it'd be
Seems-
interesting to see the
seems
reaction
like a
because it sold
very-
so well.
Yeah, it's a very interesting business decision
That was
for
divisive.
Capcom's best-selling game of all time. Make an expansion that you need to beat the best-selling game of their best-selling game of all time to be able to play. But then it being such a like barrier of entry.
Hardcore.
Yeah. I mean,
That
I guess
is interesting,
I
yeah.
guess the thought is they didn't compromise on the principles of Monster Hunter with the original game, and thus it sold super well.
Yeah.
So like, why not compromise on these principles either? And that's great. But it's been 2 years since I was really into Monster Hunter World, or a year and a half, whatever, since I was really into that game. I'm rusty. And I don't know that I have the time to dedicate to getting good again.
And this was one of my main turnoffs about it when they announced it. It was like, oh, that's awesome, and it looks really cool. But me and Kevin looked at each other like, we're not going back.
Yeah.
Like we don't have that time. Hold on, Tim's.
Do you think you're gonna play any more this week?
I will probably play more this weekend.
Okay, cool. We'll check in next week and see where you're still feeling.
Man, this show's been long.
Yeah.
I just looked at the clock. I'm like,
Yeah,
we've been talking
yeah.
about games a long time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Kinda Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for joining us today. Emran, thank you very much for joining us on your first
First official
Kinda
show.
Funny Gamescast.
Awesome job, Emma.
Gotta love it. Barrett, thank you just for being you. And your Yoshi shirt. Show the people.
Hold on.
Can we even do that anymore? I don't know if we can do that anymore.
Yeah, we can do it.
There it is.
we go.
There's a bunch of
Nice.
Yoshis in there.
Very nice.
What a fun little thing. Anyways, we love you guys. We'll see you next week.